Yes, people, and welcome to Spurs Kings TV with your boy Ashmatic. Let's get straight into it. And first of all, I just want to big up to everyone that supported us so far on this channel. Big up to each and every one of you. And big up to the listeners on Spotify, those that are listening back on their commute. I just quickly want to mention about the protest. We have someone coming on, hopefully, eventually. And let's make the impact. Hashtag THFC, hashtag Levy out, hashtag fan protest against ENIC. Change for Spurs, I believe it is. It's the date is 22nd of December. It's against Liverpool as well. And the meeting is going to be up at 3 o'clock, 3 p.m. And that's going to be on the high roads opposite the club shop. And what they're asking as well, fans to join for a peaceful protest against the board. Our aim is to highlight our dissatisfaction with the club's current direction in footballing matters. We strongly urge everyone to maintain respect with no anti-Semitic or abusive chanting. On the day, we will provide fans with balloons, flyers to help amplify our message. But I don't want to talk any more on it because hopefully Jay does turn up and he does explain the campaign about the protests and what he's trying to achieve with Tottenham, with the fans, and what he hopes to get across. But yeah, let's get straight back into the show, if I can. Just bring myself. I've got a few guests on at the moment in the background. I want to bring on, first of all, Arian. How's it
Great,
going? How you doing?
great. Happy to be on. My debut, right? So pretty happy, pretty excited. Let's go. I'm ready. I'm ready.
Do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. I
Let's do it.
also have one of my regulars in Orin. How you doing, my broski? You good?
I'm good. I'm good. Always good.
Let's say you token on. Okay,
Oh yeah, yeah.
token on that good
That's why I'm
stuff.
so chilled. I just took.
All right, cool, man. We're gonna get straight into it because
Yep,
obviously Spurs did win
yep.
5-0 against Southampton, and the question has to be: is Ange's job safe at the moment? Do you guys think Ange now, after that 5-0 win, is his job protected? I just want to hear from you guys. And I'll start with Arian, actually. Let me start with Arian.
Yeah.
I think safe. I don't think his safe implies that his job was in grave danger to begin with. I just don't think the needle has moved much. Like I don't think he's much more in danger or safe now than he was maybe like a month ago. I think um, it depends really on this next run because especially the Carabao Cup game on Thursday. I think, for example, if we win that game and if we stay in the cup, even if we get battered Liverpool 3-0, I think it'll be upsetting, but I don't think it'll put his job in danger, for example. So I think a lot more rests on the cup game than it does on this game. Like even the inverse. I think if we lost this game but battered United on Thursday, he'd be safe. Like
Well,
rather
okay,
than the
let's flip
inverse.
it then. If United battered us, do you know what I'm saying? We
I
went
think
crashing
yeah,
out the cup inside the stadium as well. Do you think the fans may have a different type of energy? Because we saw what happened against Bournemouth.
yeah,
We only lost by a goal, right?
yeah,
But the energy that
yeah,
Ange received after
yeah,
the game was
yeah.
horrific. And what followed that as well, I felt like the pressure kind of piled on because the narrative is we're up, down, up, down, up, down. And I think that's why a lot of fans are quite peed off at the moment
Yeah.
because we don't show any consistency. We don't get a run together. And that's why we have so many divides in the fan base at the moment. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So do you think that could, because a lot of fans, I don't know, it seems like their only hope at the moment is the cups. A lot of people have given up on the league at the moment. Maybe not yourself.
On what the winning the league? I've given up on winning the league. I don't
No, 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 no,
know.
no, no, no. I said giving up on the league as in terms of like top four, as in, you
Oh,
know what I mean? I think that kind of, because we're 10th at the moment,
mhm.
people can't really see with so many teams in front of us and we just can't string a run together. Like,
Yeah,
come on, we must beat Man United. This is even the Ange outers, they're like,
yeah,
we want that cup one. We want that cup
yeah,
quarterfinal into a semi.
yeah. I think if he loses the cup, then there's going to be again. I actually don't think Levy's going to sack him, but I think if he does lose the cup, uh, the fans will get very angry with him. I mean, also obviously depends on the fashion and how. If we get battered, I think that's going to be when the questions get asked seriously and it gets actually dangerous. But I think yeah, I mean this United game is undoubtedly super. If we go to the semifinal, we're always gonna like Mourinho would always say we have it in the back pocket now. Like we might have pressure in the league stuff like that, but if we have these games in the back pocket where we can rely on them, say okay, we've still got this coming up. this, that, and the other. I think that would give him something to hold on to, even when maybe things get bad. If we do lose to Liverpool, if we do have another bad loss against another club, maybe like I don't know,
Nottingham Forest, maybe.
not the Wolves, like, with the new manager. Like if we take like a draw, those and it's upsetting again. I think if something like that happens, and he has the semifinal to hold on to, it'll probably carry throughout to the season. I think he'll see out the season, and then we'll see what happens. I think if he just has a
So, Arian, I want to ask you, man. Listen, has Ange regressed at all, in your opinion, from last season? If you want to compare the two, do you think we've improved, or do you think we've fallen off a little piece, and that's why there's so many fans are running out of patience, being 18 months in?
I actually think at our best this season, like the games where we've played our best football, I think we've played better than we did in the last 10 games.
Sorry, not Arian, Oren.
Oh, okay.
The names are similar.
All right.
Sorry. Oh,
all right. Good,
sorry,
similar names.
Arian, you can answer that in a second. Sorry, Oren,
Yeah.
Oren. We'll come around.
Well, the position in the table is misleading because Spurs have conceded. I think it's only 3 other teams that has conceded more than Spurs, or less. Sorry, less than Spurs.
Right.
And Spurs are close to. They've almost, like, I think it's a couple of goals, and again, it's only 2 teams that have outscored Spurs. So Spurs are scoring, and their defense is solid, or good enough. The inconsistencies, like Alyssa Alistair goal, and you cannot display injuries, right? You can't count that out. So I think if this was the full team, Van de Ven, Romero, and they're all playing, and this was happening, then I think Ange would be, yes, under pressure. But like last season, at this stage last season, big injuries. The key players. And yes, you have the hardcore Spurs
Can I pause
fans.
you on that one? Can I pause you on that point?
Because,
obviously, injuries were a part of the first season, as you just said.
Yeah.
And he said in the second season, a lot of the players get used to these type of injuries, and therefore we'll see less of a drop-off in injuries. But do you think we recruited well enough, knowing that, what we experienced last season with 1 game a week? Now we've got effectively 3 games. We're in 3 cup competitions. And now we're the team with the highest amount of sprints in the league. We're the team with the highest turnovers, I believe. We cover the most distance as well. I think we're first for some of our players in terms of accelerations. I think as well, like if the ball goes out of play, in terms of us starting quickly, I think we're number 1 as well. I haven't got the graph with me, but the chart I've seen, we're the team that we want to start as quickly as possible. Do you think that's down to Ange not managing the injuries, for not rotating the squad that he has with the youth that he has, e.g., like your Jets?
But that's the thing. That's the thing, though, because he wasn't playing the first teamers in the Europa League at the start. He was playing the youngsters. And yes, like, let me clarify this, because a lot of people will say injuries don't affect teams. It's not just injuries. It's the fact that once you have injuries, you can't rotate these players. You can't rotate Mickey van de Ven or Romero. So more than likely, they will succumb to fatigue. And you also have to remember as well that there's no crystal ball at the start of the season, like, that will say, right, you're going to have Vicario out for months, Romero out for months, Van de Ven out for months. There's no crystal ball for that. So, in hindsight, it's like, it's easy for us, it's easier for fans who can look at that and go, we didn't recruit enough, because they're saying it now. But if Mickey van de Ven was there and Romero was there fully fit, there wouldn't be any question, if Spurs have their fully fit team. So I look at the inconsistencies and I think, right, the inconsistencies has come, for Spurs fans, they look at Spurs and go, we talked about earlier, I step back and I look, the whole flipping league, other than, there's only 2 teams who have been consistent this season, and that's Liverpool and Chelsea. Not even Arsenal have been consistent. So I'm looking at the Premiership as a football fan and thinking, this has got to be the most exciting Premiership I've seen in a long time. Nottingham Forest are 4th. Who would have thought that? So we fans will say that the Premiership is one of the toughest leagues in the world, but then they expect Spurs to win every game. No one can do that. And again, look at what's happened in Man City. Man City, big spenders. They miss one. They don't have a defense. 7 games lost. In Spurs history, that's never happened. As bad as Spurs have been in history, they've never lost 7 in a row, or how much Man City's lost. This will happen to Liverpool. This will happen. I mean, look at Aston Villa. They're topsy turvy. I just think that just to all the anti-out fans are getting annoyed, just calm the fuck down, just chill, just relax. You know what I mean?
I like this guy.
Yeah, just like, and it's because to me it's
Go
like
on. Go on.
there's more to life than football, and if you can just chill the fuck out and just go right. Spurs are going through an injury crisis. 10 players out. I mean, there's a player injured that hasn't even played, and that's Sergio Robinson. So it's like, I would understand if Spurs were getting beaten 4-0, 5-0. These are narrow losses against teams who, Fulham. Look at Fulham. People were screaming, against Fulham. They drew against, against Liverpool. Yes, it was 10 men, but they still drew. Bournemouth, they've beaten, again, Ange this, Ange that, calm, fat. I'm just thinking, you don't have a false memory, because Bournemouth have beaten Man City and Arsenal at their own ground. It's just how the Premiership's playing right now, and it's entertaining. And the question is, I don't think he shouldn't be under pressure, because the same Spurs fans who are going Ange out are the same fans who will go to the protest this Saturday or whatever, right? And go, we're sick of Daniel Levy because he's always sacking managers. He's never backing those managers. He never gives them chance. But yet they're saying Ange out. Which one is it? Right? So, and the reason why I laugh at protests like that is because the reason why those fans expect so much is because of what Enoch and Daniel Levy's done. They have done so much for this club. I supported Spurs since I was 9 years old. I'm 42 years old, right? I remember Spurs were a cup team happy to finish 10th. There was a time where I watched Spurs drew against Arsenal and celebrate like they won the game, even though Arsenal won that title at White Hart Lane. That today will be an embarrassment. So I'm just thinking, like, Ange wants belief, he wants positivity, and what are these fans going to do? They're going to go stand outside the Spurs shop, protest, bring negativity to Spurs, which media loves. Talk shit. All the media, Sky Sports, they flip in a door when those fans go and protest and slabber against Spurs. They enjoy it. They think it's great.
So just to push back a little bit, and I'll bring Aaron.
Sorry.
No, that's fine. No, the stage was yours, bro. Like, that's what we're here for. We're here for this.
Yeah.
But oh wait, hold a second.
Sorry. Now we got 4.
I was just about to comment on obviously what Orange just said, but I'll let you take the role for this one. Obviously,
I was on another show. I didn't see what you said. Sorry.
Oh no. Okay, I'll carry on. So basically, he's saying, fans that are quite upset at the moment, they need to chill out first of all, because the league at the moment is topsy-turvy. And with the topsy-turvy league, you're seeing teams like Aston Villa struggle for consistency. You're seeing teams like Man United also up and down like a yo-yo. Forest are 5th. Man City or 4th. Sorry, Man City are 4th. Forest are 4th. Man City. Like, I'm so confused with the league right now. I can't even
listen to what you're saying.
But you get what I'm saying, right? Well, topsy-turvy, things aren't basically linear at the moment. Things aren't black and white. And he's saying fans need to calm down and chill out. In terms of injuries, like he said, we've never experienced injuries like this ever before. This is like something that's quite unique.
Though last year as well, they had injuries. The same kind of injuries last year.
Right. The same kind of injuries, right.
Yeah.
So he's saying
really.
we're in a quite unique position at the moment, and we need to calm down as a fan base. Even the people that are going to these protests and want to go to the protests as well, for the chairman, he's saying that you're inviting more pressure onto Ange, and also you're creating a toxic vibe or bad energy around the club, because TalkSport are going to love it. Sky Sports are going to love this type of conversation, and it's not going to help spur the team on. No pun intended. Hotspur, what do you think of that?
All right. First of all, I think it's already toxic because people are divided on the manager. So this whole it will turn things toxic is already there. So it was toxic under Conte, toxic under Jose, toxic under Ange because none of us can unify with the manager. No, because I don't agree with Ange. I'm Ange out, as everyone knows. So like for me, it's toxic anyway. Regardless of whatever happens, it's toxic anyway, unless for some miracle we go on a run. So for me, like the protest for me, a lot of the people going to the protest who are Levy out, ironically, are actually Ange in. Even though I'm both out, I'm probably in a minority in that sense. But most of them, I know Levy out, actually want Ange in. They just want the manager to be back. So that's the whole purpose of like that protest, I think. Will that have an effect on the game? I think the result beforehand will have more of an effect on the game than the actual protest, like whether we beat United or not, because football's all about momentum. So if we lose to United, we're probably going to... I don't see us beating Liverpool. Regardless of the protest, I think beating Liverpool is a big ask anyway, because Liverpool are top of the league. They were very unlucky not to beat us last season, even as well, I think, because they had the 2 red cards, and even at 10 men, they were still giving us a game. So would it affect the process and the team that much? I don't think so. At the end of the day, they need to get on the pitch and get the job done, and Ange needs to fix his tactics.
Arian. Got to make sure I say the name right. What's your response to that, man?
My response to that, first of all, is I think toxicity. I don't agree with the fact that the club is inherently toxic. I think it's people who are angry, like Hotspur, are the ones who are feeling toxicity because I'm not even saying this. It sounds insulting. I think you're feeling the toxicity because you're so angry. I don't think necessarily people who are more optimistic are angry right now. And I think also, secondly, you saying that people who are Levy out, Ange in, is ironic. I think it's quite ironic to be the other way around because, like Oren said himself, you can't have your cake and eat it too. You can't say you got to back the managers, back the squad, this, that, and the other, and then at the same time turn around and Levy and say, "What the hell? Why are you not?" Because you're either Ange is clueless and he should be doing better, or Levy's at fault and the squad's just not good enough. You can't
actually
have both.
no, I disagree with that, Aaron, because
okay, I'm sure you do, but I didn't interrupt you.
Being WhatsApp, most ironically, a lot of the people who back Ange are suddenly turning on Levy, which is quite funny. I'm like,
but
what
do you mean? There's no turning on Levy. Levy's always been the personal guy that most Spurs fans
they're
dislike
like, well, he's not
for whatever reason.
So
for no reason, like
for people back Ange will point to the transfer window and say he didn't get enough senior players, which I agree with anyway.
Right, but that's the thing. That's what fans like you will never ever truly understand until you're able to be put into the club and you deal with transfers. It's not that simple. Nothing is that simple.
The same transfer since 2005.
Yes, 2005. Because Spurs, to you think Spurs is a great, amazing, wonderful, fantastic club.
So what was the point of building the stadium then?
The building sim to make Spurs better, to make them the bigger fans. Yes, but they haven't been worse. That's your opinion. That's your opinion. No, that's your opinion. That's your opinion.
So you think we're better? Hold on. What happened in the last season at the Lane? We finished second. Yeah.
Yeah.
We lost. We didn't lost one game at White Hart Lane, the old White Hart Lane.
Yeah, but that was.
Since we moved to the new stadium.
But that's the new stadium. What happened to White Hart Lane when it, like 4 years before that?
You're taking a very small span right before we're very good under Pochettino, and you're taking as a whole thing. It's not like that.
Under Redknapp as well, and that was in the last stadium.
Yes, but it's nothing to do with stadium. It's like Spurs were good at that time. It had nothing to do with the stadium. For you to say, oh, the reason why you're happy, you would be happy if Spurs were still at White Hart Lane.
Yes.
But why? That doesn't make sense because the
stadium doesn't make a difference to me.
Right, so stadium doesn't make a difference to you. So then how can you say that the new stadium is making a difference?
You're missing the point. I'm saying
you're missing the point.
You are, because we were sold the fact that we built a new stadium to get more revenue.
That was always needed.
Let me finish. To get more revenue.
Yeah.
As a byproduct, we're meant to buy better players. Yes or no?
No, that's not the way it
works.
Have
we bought any better players since we moved?
No, that's not how it works. Though that's not how it works.
So that's why I asked you, what was the point of building a new stadium then?
Building a new stadium, create more revenue to go within the club, to go back into the club, not just on players. You're obsessed with players. You're obsessed
Because
with players.
it's a football
There's
team.
bigger. It's
It's a
building a bit.
sorry, it's a football
Right.
team. What does
No,
THS
a football team consists of football players,
Tottenham Hotspur Football Club?
coaches, staffs,
Tottenham
all the
Hotspur Football
cooks,
Club.
all the players, all the people who work,
Tottenham
feed the
Hotspur
things.
Football
You
Club.
don't give a shit about
Wait,
that because you only care about players. So
yes,
understand
because
about
it's a
that.
football team.
Yes, I know but you're missing the point. You're talking
It's a
about
football
what's on the
team.
pitch. Daniel Levy is not. Daniel Levy sorts out what's all over
Actually,
Spurs,
no,
not just the pitch.
that's the problem. You
That's
literally
not a
just
problem. That's a problem to you because you're
Before
not seeing the
before you
bigger
guys go
picture.
any further, I just want to hear what Arian had to say on the matter as well, because
Sorry.
he did get cut off as well. Well, go on, Arian.
Look,
Go on.
my whole point was I'm kind of gonna just echo what Oren is saying. As a club, as an institution, okay. And I have many problems with Levy. I'm not quite on this board, like on this very Levy in, but I'm a younger fan, so I don't have the perspective Oren does. But I have many problems with Levy, and particularly his transfer policy. I think he nickel and dimes too much and ends up spending more than he needs to, and gets a worse result. I do agree with that, but on the other hand, what Oren is saying is absolutely true. I think there have been you can't pretend that Daniel Levy's done nothing for the club that's been beneficial. That's ridiculous. It's delusional. Okay, to say that he's done nothing positive for the club. And I think as an institution, not necessarily as a footballing institution, but as an entity, Spurs are in a stronger place now than they were 20 years ago. History would suggest. Okay, are we in a better place to win a trophy next season's exactly next season than we were X amount of seasons ago, like in the seasons where we win those trophies? Maybe not, but we are in a position to be a better club with the correct investment. We have more of the pieces together. Does that mean we're going to put them down together? I think that's my problem with Levy. My problem with Levy is that he may have he's created an entity that has many resources, but I think he can mismanage those resources when it comes to building a football side. But I think to sit here and say the stadium was useless and it's done nothing for us, I think it's nonsense. Since we built the stadium, we've broken our transfer record like 4 or 5 times. Is that transfer record high enough? I don't think so. But it's the fact that we have broken that record several times since building the stadium. That's all my point is. Okay.
Yeah,
And
I
then
was gonna say also, do you think that it's the recruitment that's more of the problem, has Spur,
yeah,
at the
Yeah, for me,
moment?
it's the way we buy players, right? So, for example, we bought Archie Gray, Odebert for all combined 60-something million plus, Bergvall for how much it was. With those 3 players, you can buy one top player,
Mm.
right? And the
so
problem is the policy of the club is to buy young and sell high.
and that's not
It's
true,
always been
Asper.
the process.
That's
That's
what
not
you've
true
said. What
anymore.
you've said is not true, because if you
It's
look at
been like
football
that
finances,
That's
I'll
not
tell
true
you why it's
anymore.
not true. I'll explain to you because you clearly do not understand football finances. So
That's nothing to do with football
transfer fees.
finance.
It has everything to do with football. There's nothing that it doesn't have to do with football finance. You can't buy 3 players that are top players for the price for the transfer fees of 15 million, 35 million, and 60 or 40 million.
That's not what I said.
Together, that is what you said. You're
No, that's
saying
not what I
those
said. I
3
said
players.
for
You're
three.
saying you're saying instead of those
No,
3
I'm
players,
saying
you could
if
have
you can
bought
buy the
one
money off
top
those
player,
3
correct?
players, you can buy one top player.
Okay, I know that's
Yes.
exactly what I reiterated, and you were saying
No,
that's
you
not what I
said
said.
you can buy 3 players for 15, 20, and 30. No,
No,
that's
No,
I
not
did
he's
not.
fair.
I added up the fees, and I said for the combined fees of 15 million, 35 million, and 40 million, which is what the cost of Bergvall, Odebert, and Gray were respectively. You're saying that we could spend that on one top player.
That's
That's
80
not how it
million.
works. That's not how it works because
It
it's
should
not
know
just
it
about
is.
transfer. It is.
You
It
could have
is 80
bought, you could have
million.
bought
It
Mesmer
is
with
80
that
million.
money.
I have not cut you off once, okay? And you've come in here with a very smug
What
look
do you
on
mean?
your
You
face,
literally cut
interrupting
me off like
everybody,
2
Whoa,
seconds
okay?
whoa,
ago.
whoa,
And
whoa,
you
whoa,
you
whoa.
have
You
he's
can't,
come in
bro,
very
you can't
smug,
Let him
interrupting
finish.
everybody.
All right, no, no, Has, let him
I'm trying to
finish.
make a point, okay?
Let him finish. Let him finish, and then you can try and bury him. Yeah, go on.
80 million is correct. That is the transfer fee. But you look at the wages, which are often the largest portion of a club's payment to players. It's not transfer fees. For example, Chelsea. Look at Chelsea. The reason they've been restructuring and they can afford all these players is how many free transfers that they have to like the Saudi Arabia. Those still got so much money off their books that they didn't get done by FFP. Football wages are often much larger portions of the finances than the transfer fees are, and the wages that Gray and Bergvall and Otterber on combined would not be enough to make up for the top wage of one player. Sonny is the highest earner at this club. He makes about 200,000 a week. Nobody else is even close to that at the club. Is that good? Is that where a club like Spurs should be? I don't think so. But you can't sit here and say those 3 players are now one top player. It's not that simple. And also, there's so many pluses and downsides of having these young players. This is not, because we've all seen the effects of an aging squad as well. So you can't sit here and pretend planning for the future is a bad thing. I've said it several times. I do have problems with the transfer policy. I think not getting in a midfielder that was better than Basuma, ready-made to replace Højbjerg, was a grave mistake, and I think that's been the main problem that's cost us so gravely this season. I'm not in any shape or form like I don't love Levy. I don't hate Levy with all my guts. I don't like him. I'd probably prefer a different chairman. But to sit here and pretend it's this simple and that he's done nothing. I don't like this attitude because it's what contributes to this toxicity you talk about. People like you are what make this club toxic, and you feel that toxicity. You
Go on,
feel that
Hotspur, you
toxicity.
can respond to that, and then you jump in.
This is ridiculous. Okay, we cut the wage bill how much over the summer, and you tell me we can't pay big wages. We pay Tino Werner's like 170 grand a week.
Yeah,
literally stealing a living at the club. You telling me we couldn't put all that money to one top player?
I said several times.
What top player are you referring to? Because you obviously have a player in
question.
mind.
No, for example, we were linked with Eze, we're linked with Neto. Instead of in the sun buying the Archie Greys, the Bergvals, all these like playing 6 or 7 players on lower, right?
So Spurs should buy a player that they're linked
For
to.
example, you bought Blanky, Neto, and Eze, and that's your summer. No one else. Just buy those 3.
Right. So what happens if those players get injured?
We play Johnson, I guess. And
same that happens if any player gets injured, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. So basically, you're saying you want these top players, and that's the point. Spurs, like Hassel, we live in this fantasy world where we want this player, we want this player, we want this player. It's always a we. It doesn't operate like that. So basically, Neto was already going to Chelsea. He wanted to go to Chelsea. How many times has he played? He's been injured.
Spurs made one bid for him, which was
it's one bid. It's like
that's the problem, Oren.
All the players that has been bought in since Ange's taken over, Ange has wanted. And you always said you're the first, and along probably Dan as well, back the manager. If he wants these players, you get them. Ange came out and said he wanted all these players, and these, and you say these top players. If you go through the history, especially in the last 7 years under Poch, look at the players that has risen. They're all bought by Enoch. Gareth Bale bought by Enoch. Ericsson bought by Enoch. Dele Alli once. Yes, I know he fell the way line, but he was one of the best Premiership players on his day. Bought by Enoch. So I'm just saying, if you can just look back at history properly, I would completely be on your side about the whole. If Spurs hadn't have challenged, Spurs came close to winning the Premiership twice back to back. Champions League final. They went to semi-finals, FA Cup finals. The way I look at it, when I looked at the touchline, I didn't see Daniel Levy fucking managing these players. I saw a manager who's in Poch managing these players, and they couldn't get the job done. Poch couldn't get the job done in the Champions League final. Why? Whatever reason. He couldn't get the job done. But what fans
because he didn't get a transfer in nearly a bloody year.
Yeah, but no one was talking about that. But who did they
sell?
Everyone
was talking about it.
In that year? Who did they sell?
Everybody was talking about it. Everybody was saying we needed new income of players.
Yes, but who did Spurs sell in that year? And Pochettino came out. Exactly. So they sold nobody.
He was broken.
Why are you praising
him? He was broken. He wasn't playing. He wasn't playing. Spurs brought in.
He was broken. We sold him on an injury.
Yeah, I know that. I know. That's what I'm saying.
Are you praising us selling Dembele? So hold on.
I'm not praising. No, I'm saying they sold Dembele because he was injured and he wanted to go. That's why they sold him.
But no, I'm saying, are you praising us selling Dembele? I'm trying to understand what your point is.
Praising? No, I'm not praising anything. I'm not like you. I don't go praising or thing. I'm looking at facts.
You're praising Levy.
No, I'm not praising Levy. I am saying what Levy's done for the club is not as negative as what you think.
Okay. Has
let Dan take over because all the comments want Dan. Let's go, Dan.
Okay, let's have it. Right, Daniel Levy on the business part. Yeah, apart from getting this club into nearly £800 million worth of debt and
negative outlook as well.
And it doesn't matter what outlook it is. This is my outlook, and I will explain it to you. Well, if you hush your mouth,
Dan, I apologise
to you.
Okay, I apologise.
No problem. No beef
I'm interrupting you. I apologise. Go.
No beef taken. Now, with the players we've bought in, how many have we had to buy off and get rid of and everything because they've been crap buyers? Has it been the manager? Has it been Levy? Has it been this? But from a business side, you can't really say the man's done a bad job. He's got us from a very small club to a massive entertainment base. But when it comes to the football side, for a so-called top 6 team, which we do like to joke and call ourselves, which we are not. We have no right to be called a top 6 team, because if we are probably the most biggest underachieving club in football for the size of us, in football in the world. And basically, what has he done for us on the football side except one League Cup? When Spurs have had chances to go places, like when we had Poch, like when we was getting to Champions League finals, even though that was basically wallpaper over a broken wall, we all saw that, yeah? He never actually put his foot down and took us that step further. He's always taken us with second best. It's almost like Levy doesn't want to win, because he doesn't want Spurs fans to get a taste of glory. Because if we get a taste of glory, then even all these little quiet ones that are just happy with mediocre crap that we get will start perking up a little bit, because they've got a taste for it. It's like giving that vampire that first bit of blood, and then he wants more, and then he wants more. It's like that fella when he's 18 who gets his first bit, and then he wants more, and he wants more. You want as much as you can get. But Levy seems to keep us that far. And the other thing about negativity, welcome to the real world. If there's negativity, there's positivity. If there's love, there's hate. We can go on many things. So if there's toxic negative, there is also toxic positive. What toxic positive is, in my side, is when there's problems blatantly there, just stick them under the pillow. They go away. No, they don't. They get wet. They go mouldy. They get smelly. They get nasty. Problems don't go away unless you fix them. So on the last thing of that, on every game we play, on some games there's more positive to talk about. On other games there's a lot more negative to talk about. But if you don't pick out the negative sides of a game, how can you fix the problems? Like Ange, when he even got told halfway through last season, this set pieces stuff isn't working. Shouldn't you be doing something on it? Set pieces, mate. No, don't worry about it.
How many
mate.
set pieces have we
It's
considered
not
this
an
year?
issue.
Angie didn't say that though. Angie didn't say that.
So Angie, so let me finish. So he did. So he didn't basically put it aside when they mentioned the set pieces to him.
No, he didn't put it aside.
No, he did not.
Yes, he did.
He answered
blatantly
it.
put it aside.
He answered it
He
because
answered it
the
and
problem.
basically put it aside.
No, he didn't. He didn't put it
If
aside.
he put it aside, you tell me why would we have changed the set piece coordinator, which we did, and why have we conceded less set pieces this season? You tell me why we would do that if he was putting it aside. It doesn't make sense.
Angie's
He
exact.
did last season.
No,
Last
Angie.
season,
No, he
that's what
didn't.
did.
Angie's exact statement, and that's because, I watched it. He said, "Set pieces are part and parcel. It's not the bigger picture because there's a lot of things we have to consider, but we're not going to focus slowly on set pieces." And he was right. The reason why, and I got it. Yes, he was right, because he was still trying to get these players playing his way and positive, and he's saying set pieces. If we just focus on set pieces, then we're going to lose focus on this. We're going to lose focus on that. This season, Spurs have conceded 4 set pieces. That's it. And
last season we were, what was it, 16th, 17th in the league? And maybe if we wouldn't have conceded so many in set
but that was last
we could
season.
have even had 4th place.
That
Okay,
was last season.
fair enough. No, do you know what? I'll give you that one. But now we're on this season. We're in 10th in the league. We've now lost 7 games. Things ain't exactly looking better, are they? We might be winning a few games 4-0, 5-0.
But that's
then
the thing.
We're losing games as well. We've
right.
lost
So
more.
Dan, we're talking about. I get right. Spurs. I've spoken a bit of many streams, Twitter. Spurs fans are upset with the whole thing about not succeeding. But this is my logic back to it. I've been a Spurs fan since I was 9 years old.
Well done. I've been one since I was 4.
Great, right?
Exactly.
Now, the reason why I say 9 years old is just to give you context of how long I've supported Spurs. So you supported Spurs longer. I don't know what age you are. I'm 42. I don't know what age you are, right? I'm just trying to link the timeline. I can recall when I went to school. No one talked about Spurs. No one cared about Spurs.
Okay.
Right?
Well, what school did you go to? Out of question. Just out of question.
It was an English school in Germany, and football was big.
Okay.
We played football.
Well, I went to a London school. And Spurs was very much spoken about all the time because they usually won a trophy.
Right. Okay. So they usually won a trophy.
Areas. But different areas.
Right. So basically, if you look at the history before Enoch took over, Spurs won the FA Cup in 1991, didn't they? And then it was 1981 before that. So it was 10 years apart. Now, correct me because my memory's a bit joggy, but as I said, I would completely be on that bandwagon if Spurs were winning trophies every season, challenging for the title every season, and being Champions League place every season. Okay. You can recall, I want you to remember, you probably remember White Hart Lane when Arsenal won the league at White Hart Lane?
Of course they did.
Spurs got a draw, right? And how the Spurs players were celebrating. As a Spurs fan, I'm like, that is fucking embarrassing. You're celebrating drawing against Arsenal, and Arsenal have won the league.
That was under Levy. You do know that, right?
Yeah, I get that because that's when it was just started. It wasn't. That's what I'm saying. From there to now, what Spurs are doing, because when Levy took over Spurs and Enoch took over Spurs, right? And there was actually an article. There was an article that I remember hearing about it, reading it in the Sun newspapers, like, oh, Spurs can be expected to get these big name players. Daniel Levy came out and says, we are taking over Spurs. We're not taking money out of the club, nor are we putting money into the club. What we're going to do, whatever money Spurs make, we're going to put it back into the club, and we're going to start from the foundation, building the foundation, training facilities. Daniel Levy's a Tottenham Hotspur fan. He says he's not an ultra fan, but he's a Spurs fan.
Sorry.
Now you can all laugh and this, but if I was to say to you when you were all younger that one day you'll be jumping for joy because Spurs will be in the Champions League final. If I'd have said to you that there was going to be 2 seasons back to back where Spurs should have won the league, I bet.
But we didn't.
At least one.
Was that Daniel Levy's fault or was that Potter's fault for not being good enough? See, that's the thing. What I am trying to say, Haas, fans like yourself, you want to blame Daniel Levy for everything. If it fucking snowed...
No.
No. I didn't say you, Dan. I didn't say you. I said Haas.
And nor does Hez. No, Hez doesn't.
No, he does. You want to blame him for everything.
No.
He's not the manager. He has to do what's good for business. And I've just said the blueprint of what Spurs are all about.
Right, let's go by what you said there. Let's go by what you said. I back up Hez on this one for the sheer fact that I speak to him offline as well, yeah? Now, he's as much Levy out as I am, as Stel is, as Brian Daigle is.
Of course, you all are. Yeah? You all are.
But on the other side, I'm also one that if you do see a few shows I go on that does actually sit there and say a lot of what happens on that pitch, though, you can't really blame Levy. You can't blame Levy for using stupid tactics like having 2 inverted wing backs all the time and leaving us absolutely naked at the back like we just come out of Holland. And you can't blame Daniel Levy for basically putting 2 pretty much injured defenders on the pitch against Chelsea. No, you can't blame him for that. But you can blame the manager. Certain things that happen on the pitch, you can't even blame the manager. You can blame players. Because we all make mistakes. We're only human at the end of the day. That's what makes us all unique to everybody. But then when the players are under that much pressure because they've got no backup on either side, they've got no one coming down the wing to cover them, they're having to come from the middle to the side, or you've got a DM who isn't even a DM. He's really playing in centre mid as a box to box, but he's having to come DM as well. And he's having to cover the left side and the right side, and he's trying to cover his arse and the front at the same time. Mistakes will happen. Again, we go back to the tactics. When the tactics come out, that the goalkeeper is basically meant to tap it out every time and play from the back, or all the players are meant to do it under all costs. Whereas we all know if we play football, have you played football? I don't know.
Yeah, I play football.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. It's a straight question. I don't know. You might be a rugby man when it comes to sports. Who knows?
Play both, but yeah.
When in doubt, kick it out. Sometimes players have got to use their own brain. I'll agree with all that. I think the players are getting off with things a little bit too lightly at times. But Ange's tactics have proven over 18 months that these players are either not adapting to his tactics or he is not adapting to them. And what a good manager does is he plays with the cards he's got. Like I say, you play poker. You can only bluff it so many times, but you've got to play with the cards you got. And it's obvious that there's quite a few players in that team that do not work with Ange's system. So shouldn't he, as a good manager, adapt his system to what suits what he's got and fight tooth and nail, even if he's got to do it dirty and pragmatic to get 3 points, not just turn around and say it's about entertainment.
No.
Just before you respond, Oren, I want to hear Arian and then go back to Haz. Then
Yeah,
you,
yeah, yeah,
Oren.
yeah.
Then you,
I'm gonna
Dan.
yeah,
Go on.
I'm gonna respond in a multifaceted way. First of all, at some point, has made a passing comment saying, "Yeah, it was Levy's fault we didn't win that league because the bench was crap." You're absolutely right. Okay, and which is why I say that it's ironic to be part of the Levy out, Ange out crowd. But that's just I'm gonna make that passing comment to you, and I'm gonna respond as a whole to what Dan said about Ange's tactics and kind of about injuries, which was maybe like an hour ago by now. So first of all, injuries have plagued our season. It's just not. This is not a secret, and a lot of people will say you can't use it as an excuse. Of course, you can use it as an excuse. Okay, of
But no
course,
one mentioned it when we
of
played
course.
Man City.
Nobody mentioned it. We play
It
Man
was
City because
mentioned. They did. Sorry for interrupting you guys, but they
No
did.
because
complaints. I
what the
saw
mention?
nobody
There's no
complain.
complaints because we won. No one's gonna say, "Oh, what?" That's such a
Yeah.
like. It's
So then
something.
why
It's
use
something
it
that
as an
sounds
excuse
reasonable.
when we lose then?
It's something. I'll tell you because it's something that sounds reasonable. It's not like nobody brought it up. Oh,
Oh, right. No, it's called an
celebratory.
excuse.
It's we beat Man City with our injuries. It's not. Oh
Mhm.
my God, we beat Man City, but let's grieve about it. Who would do that? It doesn't even make sense, and you know that it doesn't make any
So
sense to
it's
say that.
complain about
Okay,
the injuries
so
when it goes
it is
wrong,
complain about the
but
injuries
don't
when it goes
mention
wrong because
about
when
the
it goes
injuries when
wrong,
it
it's
goes
often
right.
because of the injuries. And again, Dan, I
Oh,
didn't
right.
interrupt you
So
one time.
one's
I
an
was looking at you the
excuse
whole
Let
time.
him
and
land.
one's
I
Let him
didn't
land.
carrying.
interrupt
Wait,
you
wait.
one time.
Dan, let
Okay.
him
Sorry,
land,
Ash.
and then you can come back.
Sorry,
Yeah,
Ash. I'll back off.
yeah,
It's
it's
all
all
Okay.
right.
right. Go on,
We've
go on.
got we've got 10 players missing, and a lot of people will
Mhm.
say, well, how come Ange said last season that there's going to be less injuries? These injuries are of completely different nature. We've got Vicario, who's out with a contact injury, Romero, who's out with a contact injury, Van de Ven has had a history that predates Ange, Richarlison has also had a history that predates Ange, Mikey Moore is ill, Otterbert is brand new to the squad. Who else have we even gone out? We've got a trillion players. Ben Davis had to play every single minute. Like things like this, which completely handcuff the manager. Are you can't pretend like it's completely irrelevant. And I'll say this, Oren has said it. Not every team, particularly almost no team, can just deal with a wave of key injuries. Man City are winless or are 1 win in 10. And I know you're going to say, well, Pep Guardiola has so much credit in the bank. Of course he does. That's the point. The great Pep Guardiola can't deal with an injury crisis. But Ange Postecoglou is supposed to come out and have all the answers. It doesn't make sense. And when you say he's supposed to adapt, he's supposed to do this, that, and the other, I disagree. I completely disagree. If you're saying he has to adapt and completely
Okay.
change his game, I completely disagree with that because
No.
you are.
Did I say
And I'll say
totally change his game? Did I say those
you did.
words?
First of all, you did, and
No, I
second of all,
didn't. I
you didn't
did
say
not.
those
I
words. You
did
didn't
not
say those
say
words
totally
verbatim, and
change his
you've gone
game.
back to interrupting
I
me.
said
What you've said.
adapt.
Okay. First,
ADAPT.
all right. I don't
One
need
word.
I don't need the condescending tone from you. All right.
But he
What
didn't
I
say that.
what I
Right.
what I
Then don't say
yeah,
I said
what you're
things when I
saying,
didn't.
I'll tell you, what you're saying, adapt and play more pragmatic. That is an antithesis to Ange Ball. You're asking him to change his game, and the same thing. There's a
Not
lot
the
of
whole
words that
system.
people use. There's a lot of people like you guys that use words that sound reasonable when you first say them. For example, people saying, "Oh, I don't care if we're losing games, but we just need to be more consistent." That doesn't make sense if you actually break it down. What does consistency mean when you're talking about results? Consistency when you're talking about results means
Slow
you have to
down.
win every game. It means you
Slow
have to win
down.
every game.
I'm trying. No, slow down. I'm trying to understand you, and I ain't
Okay.
taking the piss.
When
Slow
people
down.
say okay, oh, I don't mind Ange, but we're just too inconsistent. I want us to be more
Mm-hmm.
consistent. That's the
Yeah.
same exact thing. That sentence means the same thing as I want us to win more games. That's all it means. It means I want to, and that's not
Mm-hmm.
unreasonable to ask. But when people say I
Okay.
don't care about results, I just want to win games, consistency is winning 4 or 5 games in a row. Everybody wants that. But we have issues as a squad that are preventing us from getting a run together because it's
Mm.
preventing us from getting a team that can play 3 or 4 games in a row together. We haven't had
And
that.
it's
We haven't
nothing
had
to do
that.
with the tactics. Would you say these tactics have not let us down a few times? That we have not been sussed out game after game by many and
Here's what
many
I
a
would say.
club.
Here's what I would say. I think if we had more I think if we had different tactics with this particular squad in this particular moment, we would have some more points than we do right now. But I think the long-term benefit of that is worth the cost. That is what I will say. I
You know
Hasper,
think the
what?
long-term benefit is worth the cost.
Fair
Hasper,
enough. Let me just give him his bit
go
for
on,
that one,
go on,
Ash,
go on,
and
go on,
I'll leave it to him.
go on.
Do you know what? I'll meet you halfway there. I totally get where you're coming from, yeah? Again, for me, a good manager has a plan B, a plan C. But then again, he has never managed in a big league. He has only ever managed in small leagues. He's come to the Premiership and he's had the shock of his life, I think. I think he
I don't think so.
underestimated the Premiership, the Premier League.
I disagree with that sentiment.
Fair enough, but it's an opinion. I
Yeah.
can't tell you you're wrong. You can't tell me I'm wrong. So we live to love on an opinion. So when it comes to that one, if he would have, let's just take a game against Roma, for example.
Sure.
2-1 up, the pressure was coming on us. You know what? Shut up shop. Shut up shop for the next 10 minutes. Sit back on purpose, shut up shop, get rid of the ball when you can. Nope, we keep playing Ange's way. We play against Brighton, 2-0 up.
That's annoying.
Brighton come out and come on us, bang, 2-1. He does nothing. 2-2, he stands there shocked and does nothing. Next thing you know, we're 3-2 down before he even decides to make a sub. This is where you've got to read games. This is where you've got to adapt. Now, that does not mean change a whole system. Not like Arsenal did against us, where they totally adapted to our system and beat us. It means when you're playing Liverpool, who do you watch out for? Salah, I would say, is the main one. Yeah. So maybe we should have 2 players focus on him at a time. That's adapting in a game. Adapting doesn't mean a whole change of the system. We haven't got to get fairies and unicorns in to adapt to a bloody system. There's just certain games, and even when it's not going right in a game, you can adapt in the middle of a game as well. You can change players, like tell him, like, do you know what? Double up on him, or do you know what? That's their weak spot down there. Get the ball over. Focus on that. That is adapting in a game. And you can't tell me Ange's match management skills have been very good over 18 months.
I would say his substitutions and stuff were probably.
Let me bring
And I'll stay
Hotspur
back
in.
now.
Let me bring Hotspur quickly. I know I'll let you get back in there in a sec, but just on the point of I asked, is Ange safe? I didn't really get to hear your opinion.
All right, sorry.
No. But you came in. Obviously, we're in the middle of something as well. But yeah, is Ange safe? And also, the second question: did we see Ange ball against Rangers, in your opinion, or did we see something else? And did we see Ange ball against Southampton, or did we see something else?
Okay, so is Ange safe? I think for now he is for the next week, unfortunately, because I think even if we lose to United, the owners won't care because it's a cup for them. So we lost last season to Fulham, they didn't bat an eyelid, and there's no reports of that the board were unhappy, or whatever. As for Liverpool, I don't think they'll really sack him on that because Liverpool are top of the league. We only beat them when they had 9 men last season as well, which is good context, I think. As for Rangers, I didn't think we played Ange ball against Rangers because we were open as hell down the sides again, and he inverted both the fullbacks. I think Southampton, yes and no. I think some of the times they inverted, sometimes they didn't. Porro didn't really invert, but I think on the left-hand side we did, 100%. Spence was so far in, and so was Adogi. And because, Southampton got 5 points. We're always going to win that game. Can I respond to Aaron's tactics stuff?
Yeah. Go on.
Okay, so for me, apart from in-game management that Dan alluded to, we can see the obvious weaknesses in the system on the sides and the overloads, which Roma noticed, Fulham noticed. I could rack up a number of teams, but those are 2 at the top of my head.
Ipswich, Palace, Newcastle.
Yeah. So instead of changing in-game and saying, look, let's not invert the fullbacks, let's drop a bit. He didn't do anything. He just stands there with hands in his pockets and stuff like that, and just does nothing. There's no direction off the touchline for me to have any encouragement or faith in this manager to show he's doing something different. So when people say he's adapted, when they try and argue, for example, City away, you can't really conclude that because I don't see anything from the touchline to back that up, really. And that's partly Ange's fault. You can say either way. Also, just in general with the injuries, yes, we have all these injuries, but then shouldn't Ange notice I don't have Van de Ven or Romero, especially Van de Ven I'm alluding to here, so I can't play this high line. Let's drop the line because Davies and Dragusin, especially Dragusin, are not the fastest defenders in the world. Let's be honest. Even Gray, who's play centre-back now, wouldn't it be more helpful for him to play a bit further back rather than asking him to do what Van de Ven does when he doesn't have the legs for it?
Can I ask you a question? I'll let you go on. Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, sure.
Have we conceded on a fast break? With Van de Ven injured?
What do you mean? In general?
Because a lot of the credit that Van de Ven gets.
How many goals have Spurs conceded from a ball being played over the top because of the high line this season?
Yep. Well, he just told it. He told you the answer.
How many goals have been conceded because we didn't
have
Van de Ven's pace? Just
you
any.
Don't have a spreadsheet.
Do you have any examples of that goal was because
Newcastle was one. Newcastle was one of them.
Newcastle, that's a good one. Yeah, Newcastle is one. I'll give you that. That is one.
Yeah,
that
Newcastle. It's one Newcastle always do it with that. It was they got us straight through the middle over.
Yeah.
Because Dragusin was standing there, and where he's a bit of a robot when
You're
it
right.
comes
Newcastle's
to
second goal was like that.
He's not
Dragusin
flexible
got
like
against
that.
Karabakh because of the high line, really.
What?
What?
Because
he was so. Literally, he was the last man because
he fumbled the ball and he fouled. It had nothing to do with his case. He fumbled the ball. It was a shit foul.
Where it was on the pitch, anyway.
No,
for me, the high line exposes. For me, Archie Graham, he's not even a defender, really. He shouldn't be playing the centre back.
I'll tell you, most of our goals.
Dragusin's weaknesses, right? Rather than trying to play to players' strengths, which is for me Ange's biggest weakness, he's almost playing to their weaknesses. Like even the fullbacks, Porro and Udogie were saying as wingbacks. Yeah,
it's when we are over the top. We haven't been so bad this year. Yeah, we haven't. But it's the same way as last season in the aspects of when both wingbacks invert. And there's no cover basically on the sides. It's over the top down the wings time and time and time again. What did Ipswich do down the wings? What did Newcastle do down the wings and over the top?
What Ipswich did was target.
What did Arsenal do?
What Ipswich
but what I'm saying they did, though, I'm not saying how they scored. I'm saying where they targeted. Yeah.
But did it work?
Whenever Archie Gray plays on the side, they stick two people on him. Why? Because he is a weaker point there, because he shouldn't really even be playing right back or left back or even centre back, but he's done a respectable job as centre back. I feel for the boy, I really do. But that is why we bring Kulu in on the right to try and cover our right back a little bit. But it's always down the flanks that all the teams aim, all the time, because that is our weakest spot, because we go inverted, totally. Now, if we at least played with a number 6 consistently, not someone who's got to do box to box, be a 6 and a left and a right and a back and a forward, and might as well do some break dancing with it as well, we could be covered. Now, the games we've played best in, my opinion, purely my opinion, Man City.
Yep.
Do we agree?
Yeah.
Villa.
Yeah.
Yep.
Man City again.
Yeah.
Yeah. All 3 of those games, we didn't use inverted wing backs, and we stayed back a lot deeper.
They
did.
Go on, Oren.
Look, Southampton.
I want to hear.
No,
I
we
want
went
to hear
through this
what
the
Oren
last
said about
time.
this one.
Like,
Go on, Oren.
The Spurs goals that have been conceded have been from when Spurs have dropped deep. Yes, Ange plays a high line, but that's always to put pressure on the team. Ange plays the high line is played to congest the team and force the team to play long balls over the top and things of that nature, and also put them under pressure. Now, if Spurs win the ball high up the pitch, there's more chance of them grabbing a goal. They did it against City. Press up high, won the ball.
Twice against Chelsea.
Right? And the same with Chelsea, people slipped. Now, if you look at the goals that Spurs have conceded, has been 4 set pieces, and also has been when Spurs have dropped deep. Against Roma, the second goal, what was it? Was it a ball played over the top? No. The Roma player got the ball, smashed it. Bissouma was so deep he was hugging the post, which played the Roma player on side, which led to a goal. Yep. If you can go and look at all the highlights of when Spurs have lost, it's because what they've done. I said this before. If Spurs score first, they drop deep. If the other team scores first, then Spurs will have to play a high line because they're trying to get a goal back, which then allows the other team like Ipswich or Crystal Palace or Bournemouth. Bournemouth scored 1 goal. I know they could have had more, but that goal came from a corner. That's where it came from. And also then, every time Spurs went to push, they would lose the ball, and it was a counter-attack. The inverted fullbacks, I have watched the games over and over again, and it's perfect against Southampton, Spence. Let's have a look at Spence. Now, you can do your little eye thing or whatever, right? But look at what Spence did.
He did that very well.
Yeah, Spence did it very well. But no, watch what he did. Because when he was on left and when he was on the right, he didn't bump forward. And I said this, what Pero and Udogie tends to do is bump forward and then just stand there. They never get back.
Especially
so then when Spurs lose the ball, they have to sprint back. Mm-hmm. But with Spence and I think Pero as well, what they did was they didn't attack the line. They also did it against Aston Villa. They also did it against Man City. Those fullbacks are only meant to attack when it's absolutely golden opportunity. But when they don't see an opportunity, they're meant to stop the counter attack, because a counter attack is more than likely to come through the middle. So that's what it's meant to do, and flood the middle. So this inverted
I get
fullbacks,
what it
because
does.
Man City plays inverted fullbacks as well,
Man
and they
City
were
play one at
successful
a
with it.
time. They play one at a time, and the other covers three at the back.
Yes, and that's what Spurs have been doing. Now, the one thing I would say,
we've done it a couple of times.
The
I'll
one
give it
thing-
that, but in general, no, we do not.
the one thing I think the biggest issue, which I think is going to get fixed either in January or summer, and Ashmatic brought this up, is the midfield. Bentancur, Bissouma, either one of them have to go. They're not. They don't fit Ange's system.
Bissouma has to go. Bissouma
They
has
don't
to
fit
go.
Ange's system.
I'm with you two on this.
And-
After that tackle off Bissouma,
Yeah, they don't fit.
Guys, we don't want to be agreeing on stuff. All right.
No, here's the thing, because we've all watched football, and
if he's right, Ash, he's right.
Yeah,
I can't
yeah.
argue when someone's
we can,
right.
if we watch, we're fans and we all like football. We all know, and this is what I was trying to figure out, because when I leave these streams, I go, right, what did Dan say? What did Haas say? And I think about it, and I think, right, that's why I will never disagree. I might shake my head on purpose, but I never truly disagree with you guys. Like, I see your opinions. The engine of a football team has to be the one, and that has been inconsistent. Bentancur's been inconsistent. Bissouma's been inconsistent.
And that's why Man City are struggling so much without Rodri, by the way, because these teams, when they don't have their metro,
Their heartbeat is missing.
Exactly,
Yes.
their heartbeat.
So-
when we don't have that, we could have any system in the world.
Yeah,
we're
but look-
trying to play any possession based.
When,
Okay.
when just let me get this in here. When Spurs were flying under Poch for those 2 seasons, Dembele, Wanyama, and then Eric Dyer all played consistently. Right now, that's what Spurs are missing, which I think is the next step into rebuilding this squad.
And what
Start
I
at
said
the
in the
defense,
summer,
start at the attack, and now you're going to have the middle, which is going to get started. I think Ange's realised, because he took off Thibaut Werner, and again, everyone talked about it, but he also took off Bissouma and Bentancur, even though they weren't going to play against Southampton. He was like, nah, they're not doing it. Both of them are going to go. And that's, I think, as soon as Spurs are able to sort that out, I think that's when we all see Spurs become more consistent. A proper midfielder.
There's a possibility
before you come in, Dan, because I might as well just, you know what I do.
Yes.
You know what I do. You know I get excited when I hear these type of things, and like
Another player,
Now, come on, you know how I do. I want to do it quick because we're linked to this player.
Yes. Yeah. That's who we're linked. Sorry, I was reading about this
Can
guy.
I just say something because I actually have to go in like a few minutes.
No,
I have to go. I've got to go. Like I said, I've got to go. I don't know how much time. I was just saying. I absolutely 100% agree with the fact that like a midfielder is what we needed. I was saying when I was talking about Levy earlier that I think it was a failure. As much as I think he's done other things, I think his transfer antics have not been up to par, up to the standards I think we should be at lately. And I think this summer, particularly a midfielder, is where the biggest failure was. And I think we're seeing that with Bissouma and Bentancur. More so Bissouma, to be honest. I think he's been absolutely dreadful this season. Yeah, I just wanted to get that out of the way. So what we all agree on is that Bissouma has to go, that Levy has not done enough in that particular area and with transfers. I think we can all agree on that. And I respect everybody.
He hasn't done it in any area.
He hasn't done it. I think, well, yeah. I think generally.
Sorry. I forgot. No, I forgot. We've got one player in that first 11 that we haven't had in that starting 11 for 18 months, and that is Solanke.
Solanke, yeah.
So you would have thought over 18 months they would have adapted to this system because they've all been playing Ange's style for 18 months straight, and it still hasn't adapted, has it?
I disagree with that. I think when we've had our best moments, I think we've had our fully fit squad.
We've lost 7 games. We've lost 7. We've won 7. We've won 2.
We've won 7. We've lost. Okay, and I'm saying. Well, first of all, what I was saying is when we win, when we're playing our best, I think we look better than we did in the first 10 games of last season. And I think when we have a fully fit squad, we were consistent when we had our fully fit squad because we only lost one game in like 8, whatever it was. We lost only one game and it was the Brighton game. And even that game, we had a brilliant first half. I don't know what the fuck happened in that second half. But
I mean, with our full team, we had two streaks of losing 4 out of 5 games. I remember that when we basically only had 2.
With our full team, really.
Basically, 2 injuries we had when that happened.
Well, what 2 injuries? I don't know what period you're referring to.
Last season.
James Harris is saying full squad versus Ipswich.
Okay, last season. Also, we didn't have the full squad versus Ipswich. Bandeman was out. But look, all I'm gonna say, I'm just gonna end it off. I respect everybody's opinion. I didn't have hopefully as much time as I wanted to talk about Ange and everything that I think about him and why I think he's the right man. But that's my take on it. I understand you guys have a different take. Good luck with your protest. Hope everything goes well because we're happy, and I hope we beat Man United on Thursday. That's it. That's all I have to say. And as always, come on, you Spurs.
Yep.
Come on, Aaron. All right, cool. You're welcome to come back as well anytime, bro.
Yeah.
We'll
Yeah,
get you
yeah,
back
yeah.
on, man. But like, yeah, I'm gonna just talk about a midfielder, Quentin Timber. We might as well. He's 23 years old, 32 million on transfer market. That's what they're quoting. So add another what, 5-10 million you can if you want. I don't know, but 32 million is what they're asking. He can play centre mids, defensive mids, and attacking mid. Actually, when I first saw him, just a quick note, when I was actually looking at Mickey van der Ven, I watched the Euros under 21s, and that's when I noticed him playing the DM role. And I was like, where's Mickey van der Ven? I was looking for him. He's on the bench. And I was like, I had to watch the Dutch team. I was like, oh, who's this? Who's this Timber for? Is that the one that's linked for Arsenal? Not knowing that he had a brother, and his brother was playing the DM role, and I was quite impressed. Because you sometimes when you're scouting, you're always looking for something, and then you find something else. But yeah, anyway, cool. So yeah, he plays in a 4-3-3. He played under slot. He won trophies. He's their captain as well. So he's no stranger to like lifting trophies, whether it be domestic cups or being their actual league cups, whatever it is. He's done it. Here's his heat map. Ironically, though, he has played this season a lot on Madison's side, from what you can see. He's a lot of concentrated side. Doesn't mean he can't play on the right hand side. Doesn't mean he can't still play centre mid or DM. Just something I observed when looking at some of the numbers and stats and his positioning. But yeah, I think his strengths have to be, from what stands out to me, is his progressive carries, but his successful take on. So actually dribbling, he's a really good dribbler. And his first touch is really high. Again, tackles means he's high pressing, very energetic, very mobile. And I think that's the profile they're looking for. I know Basuma is a problem and everyone wants a 6. But I think what Ange wants is a midfielder, an old school midfielder that, back in the day, we never had DMs and 8s and 10s. We just had midfielders. Remember, like Clarence Seedorf. Clarence Seedorf was just a midfielder. Do you know what I'm saying? But anyway, we move.
Makalele.
Yeah, Makalele was more of a DM, in my opinion. I think that's when it first started happening. But before that, we just had midfielders, and I
We
think
had
this
like Vieira in that before Makalele.
box to box. I
Roy
would say
Keane.
Roy Keane was you could say he's a
They were
conventional
DMs before they were
6.
called DMs, though,
But
I think. Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, in terms of like, you got your Carricks, your Skulls, but across the board, you generally had the centre mids and your right mid and your left mid. Do you know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, here's his actual shots per 90. I did it against Belieber, Louise, Geoff. That's a player we've been linked with before. Papa Matasar, Edison. The reason why I've done it with these players is because they also play in a 6/8. Papa Sars played in the double pivot /6/8. Edison plays 6/8 for Atalanta. Again, Douglas Luiz for Juventus, 6/8 in my opinion. I work for Aston Villa. I remember when he's under Emery, he asked him to do a bit more defensive work, a bit more attacking, and get more goals, and he started to deliver that. So that is the type of profile I kind of compared him against. Even though I would think what Ange wants, he wants a Gallagher, he wanted a Ramsey. So again, he kind of profiles more in that particular style, in my opinion, less than a defensive mid, more of a centre mid, box to box attacking mid. But here he is, and here's some of his attacking possession bits. Here he is having a shot, just getting a shot out of his feet, getting the foot out, getting a good shot across the box on the half turn, gets out of his feet again with his weaker foot here, on his stronger foot here, gets the top corner, on his weaker foot, keeper saves it, hits the corners there, gets a goal, on the weaker foot again, bottom corner, weaker foot again, finishing there, right foot there, stronger foot, right foot finesse, and then followed up by the finish. Again, a weaker foot finish in the bottom corner on the half turn, drives at the box, drives into the box on the half turn, shimmies, shadows, does a little drop of the shoulder, and he's able to get away. First touch is good, uses his arm and his body to hold a man off. Again, turn away, using his body well. Key passes, a top. Again, passes into the penalty area. Other than Edison, he's quite high, third in that position. Then if you're looking at through balls, he's the man that actually hits that ball into the box. So it's really good. We've seen the pass from before. Shots creations, actions per 90, really high again in that position. And here he is here, playing a nice finesse little layoff through ball into the box. Here he is here, getting on the ball, little dinked, loft the ball over the top, into the box, into the path. And guess what? My man finishes it off in a hard angle. Here he is again running the player, lovely through ball into I think it's Gamir. I forgot his name. We were linked with him anyway, that striker. But yeah, that's it. Some of his successful take-ons, really good. He's a strong dribbler, as you can see in the action. But let's take a closer look at his dribbling as well. Actual's first touch as well. Look at that in the progressive area where you need to have good technical ability, where you don't want to lose it. He scores the best out of all the players that I've looked at in that particular position. But here's his first touch on a half turn. He lets the ball run across his body. Then he checks back, goes the other way, and then he's able to carry the ball. Again, lets the ball run across his body, finds a player. And this is in a 6 role where you're able to pick that ball up from deep. Here he is in the channels, running at players, using the inside and the outside of his foot, treading on sometimes. First touch inside the foot, then outside, then wriggles away from his players, uses his body to shield it, then drops shoulder, then cuts inside, left foot, right foot, does a dummy, cuts inside, goes on his instep, finds a player, again, goes to fake a pass and then comes in. Again, a little disguise on the shadow, the way he pirouettes there. Again, out of his feet, first touch, into the midfield, starts some of the attacks. Uses the physicality again there. Lovely way he shields the ball away from the player. Always uses his hands or uses his body to get away from players. So use it on the outside of his body. And he's 2-footed here, using left foot, right foot there as well. Glides in between two players on a half turn. Does a little pass here to link the play. Gets away from a man here. 3 or 4 players around and drops on the floor. Still has it. 3 or 4 players draw to him. Still able to get the ball. Again, first touch is good. Able to composure. Got good balance, good agility. Flicks it over the head on that player. Flicks over this guy's head. Another touch here into the channel. And there you go. 3 or 4 players. Someone that can draw that many bodies away from him and then still have the composure to find his teammates there. So you're seeing it time and time again. He's on that kind of half turn, on that kind of pirouette, able to use his body, do the shoulder, and he's got a good acceleration as well to get away from players and also to beat players and commit 2 or 3 bodies and start attacks. Some people call it counter attacks, but because he's so good, you're seeing the best of it. Some of his challenges, recovery pace could be better. That's one critique I would say. But challenges overall, he's there. He's physical. He's being able to get in there and then charge the ball forward, start the attacks, put through the man's legs there. You can see there 3 or 4 players there. He's able to ride challenges, beat players there. Again, intercepts a player there, grabs the ball. Good recovery challenge there, actually, with a sliding challenge. Nicks the ball for player, finds a midfielder. And this is someone that you might want to use in your midfield. Here he is as passes. The last bit, guys. Passing range, a good way of pass into a dangerous area. Nice dink ball into a box. Nice switch of play into the central area. Nice switch of play, a faded pass across the box into the channels. Balls over the top into the box. Again, a nice little flick right into the dangerous area. Uses a good switch of play there. Finds someone in that dangerous area with a good way to pass into the box. Loft the ball. Here in the number 6 role, switching the play from right to left for the Netherlands. Here, finding a cross. But aerial duels 1 as well. He's that guy. 63% in terms of winning his duels back. But yeah, that's him, guys. Just wanted to bring him up real quick. But yeah, no, you're right, man. In terms of an engine midfield, I think that's something the club have identified. I know you guys would like more of a traditional number 6, yeah, because you prefer, we call it positional play, where players are a bit more rigid and they have fixed roles like your Vieira, like you were saying before, like a Roy Keane. Some might call Carrick and Scholes a 6 because they sit deep and they dictate from deep. So that's a different type of 6 as well. And I think with Ange and his systems, I think the difference is he wants a midfielder that can do traditionally all the roles because he wants
everything.
He wants, yeah. We can critique it, we can, but I think what he wants is 3 midfielders that if one goes forward, then one can fill in. So when Maddison drops in the 6, then we've got a midfielder just as good as a Maddison that could drop in the hole or in the pocket where the 10's meant to be and can affect the game. So then when Maddison makes that pass forward, he's able to do or replicate what he does. So then you're no longer relying on a Maddison to change a game. You've got 3 midfielders that can all attack, 3 midfielders that can all dictate, 3 midfielders that can all tackle. One thing we can say about Maddison is that he does tackle, but he lacks physicality. And I think that's the difference in the profile players of what I think Ange wants and where he's lacking and like why he keeps changing his midfield each time and he's not consistent.
I think the problem is
Yeah,
This
go on.
Basuma isn't actually a 6 anyway. So you're asking him to do a role he's not even used to. I'm not saying, by the way, I want
Yeah,
Basuma
yeah.
gone.
No, no,
I'm
no,
just
no.
saying.
But no,
So
you
like,
can though. You can say you want
yeah,
Basuma. There's nothing wrong with that.
yeah. But like for me, he's not on number 6, and you're asking him to do a role he doesn't do.
Do you know what it is
And
for me for Basuma? Sorry to interrupt you, and then I bring Oren in afterwards. For me, for Basuma, he's lost that ability to get his foot on the ball and drive it. Before, in those first 10 games, he was getting on that ball on a half turn, dribbling, taking players on, and being successful. When was the last time you seen Basuma beat a player? Like in the middle of the park? We're just not seeing that. So when you're not seeing Basuma impact the game offensively, even though he's a number 6 and you want your 6 to sit, like what he was doing that last game, he was breaking up play and then bringing it forward. He's not doing that anymore. And so now you're looking at Basuma, you're like, what does he do? Because he hasn't got passing range.
I think
If
it's
he's
part
not,
to do with tactics because everyone knows we're going to play the ball. You know, when they start playing it out the back, right? Ange ball, they play the ball in the middle of the park, right? So you know, and one of them drops either it's Bentancur or Basuma, sometimes it's someone else. But and what it is, the other team knows they put for two players on, or sometimes 3, to press that midfielder straight away. So what it is, it means now the passing option they can't turn because they're now
so
got 2 on them.
isn't that down to game intelligence then? Because then I think Basuma has to know that and play a short pass, maybe a wall pass, and then pass a move to evade that pressure, if that makes sense. Or is
The
his
only
pass
pass
to
he
the
can
next
really make
person?
after that, most likely he's going to be back to the centre halves again, which is what causes half our problems.
No, but what for me personally, if I'm a 6 and my goalkeeper's passed it out to me, I would pass it out to my fullback. There's different like avenues you
Our,
could do
our,
as a
our
number.
fullback positioning is very strange, don't forget, because they invert, right?
Yeah, so that
Yeah,
means
but
they're closer.
what happens is Madison though has been playing as a fullback at times. Have you seen that? Sometimes Madison drops in the double pivot to help Basuma, and
Yeah, and I've
sometimes,
seen,
as you
yeah.
saw against Southampton, sometimes Basuma drops as a left back, or sometimes not Basuma, Madison drops as a left back. Sometimes it's Sarr that drops as a right back. Do you understand? So that's what I mean by fluidness. So when Sarr drops as a right back and you say Spence inverts, that ball from the number 6, whoever's in that position, might be Bergval, Madison, or Basuma, whoever's occupying that space, their next pass is meant to be out to that flank, that fullback flank.
I see what
And
you're
then
saying,
it's
but
meant to
because
travel.
teams sussed us in that respect, right? They know, I know every time we play the ball out, he's going to try
Yeah,
and put it in the middle, right?
yeah.
That's what we do 99% of the time. So what I'm saying is teams, and I've seen this since the first 10, 50, whatever night games, they put at least 1 or 2 players on that player because they know Spurs' triangle, whatever you want to call it, is going to happen. Like I know it's going to happen. I'm not even like a qualification man. Like it's so obvious if you watch Tottenham enough, you know we start playing around the back. They might leave 2 players to press the first line of passing, let's say, and eventually they know Spurs are going to try and do this triangle where the 6 we label as the 6. I don't know what Ange labels it. We'll drop into that little bit,
Mm.
and what it is, it closes off the space. So I'm not saying you're wrong in them trying to play it
No,
to the
no,
full.
no. I hear what
But
you're saying.
it's very difficult for them to do it because teams already know what we're going to do. Like
Yeah,
so,
I get it. I
that's
get it.
why I insist, for example, to us play it more long balls sometimes. Not every time, by the way. Like play it long sometimes because at least we skip
And
this
I
stuff.
agree with that. I
Yeah.
don't disagree with that. I'm going to bring Oren in because Oren looks like he's about to manifest something. He's like,
No,
and then
that's
I'll
right.
bring
That's
Dan
right.
in because I haven't heard Dan for a second. But like, in terms of like, because what Has is saying, Ange is becoming a bit predictable tactically when we're trying to progress the ball out from the back. And he thinks that's an issue when we're trying to hold on to the ball,
Start on
for
attack.
example, and
Yeah.
when we're trying to stop that momentum from going into the other team's favor. For example, Bournemouth, there's a lot of times when we gave that ball back to Bournemouth, and then all of a sudden, we're turning the ball over and they're having a big chance on a goal. Do you agree with Haas at some capacity that Ange maybe needs to switch things up tactically, or have you seen something different in that where maybe we do play a different way out the back? What do you reckon?
Yeah, I see something different. Like if you look at the first, like I said this before again. Son's goal. What was goal? What goal was it? Can't remember what goal, but it came from the back. No, it came from Dragusin playing a long ball. I think the first goal against Man City.
Yeah,
Came
that's right.
from,
Yeah, yeah.
and I've said this before. Yes, Ange wants to play at the back, but I have listened to Ange when he talks in his press conference. He says, and I'll repeat this because I'm just repeating the same thing over and over again. He says, me and the coaching staff, we set the basis of what these players want to do, but on the pitch, they're the ones who decide how to carry it out. So if they think they need to pass the ball over the top, because if you look at the high wide wingers, now the inverted fullbacks when they press up high, the reason why they do that is to kind of stagnate the central defenders. We all play football. So that means that Song or Brendan Johnson will be 1-on-1. Now, unfortunately, Brendan Johnson isn't good at taking on players, but if Kulu's there, you can. But just hypothetically say the players out wide can take on players. It leaves them 1-on-1. Also, furthermore, if Spurs can break really quickly, they get that ball out wide and they're automatically in the counter-attack. Like, I think it was, what do you call him, Paul Mason? Yeah, he said it, and he doesn't say a lot right, but he was saying, when Spurs go ahead, they should be the most dangerous teams to play against because their speed on the wings. You got Johnson or you got Song. If they get the ball and they spread it to those teams quickly, whether it's ball over the top or pinpoint straight away, then you're in trouble. So basically, Spurs have the system that I see. I don't want to call it Ange ball because it's Pep ball, it's Conte ball. It's fucking Mickey Mouse shit, right? Basically, what it is. Ange has a set of tactics that he wants to play, and it's pass and move, triangles, quick passing forward, get the ball over the top, be brave. If you see Sung Heung-min making a run, play a ball to him. If it goes out of touch, if it's too long, that's fine. But the biggest thing that I've watched, and this is the criticism under Conte, this is a criticism under Jose, Poch, you have players now who just want to play it safe, and it's, I will play this way, because I know that I don't have to take responsibility. So I'm going to play at the back, make a mistake and go, Andy told me to do it. I'm going to pass the buck on to him because I know what the fans are saying. I'm not going to get criticism. Ramiro's done it. Ramiro's came out and is criticizing the football club and everything like that. And he's, and it's just a case of when I watch Spurs in full flow, it's pass and move, very quick passing, one-touch passing. One-touch pass will beat any press if it's done right and properly. The issue is, with a couple of Spurs players, they don't have the mentality or the bravery to do it. And I've seen Johnson make runs, Madison's making runs, things making run, but they look up, I see you making a run, but I'm going to play it safe and pass it to this guy. Mm-hmm. And then it's pass backwards. So I do agree with the whole passing it back and forth, whatever, but you have to be able to be brave. That's what makes the best teams in the world the best teams. Because if you look at the players, Real Madrid, Jude Bellingham makes a run, he's going to get that ball, right? And a pass is only good as the run, and a run is only as good as the pass. So I just think that Bissouma has never been a brilliant passer of the ball, but he was good at beating people. That's gone. Bentancur, for some reason, I don't know, he's a shell. And yes, the criticism can be, well, why didn't they, buy players to improve them? But last season, I mean, everyone thinks Bentancur is world class, and we all thought, but Bissouma was really good, and they were the two mainstays. They've dropped off.
Bissouma was really good. When Bissouma
he was, but that's the thing. It's like
one thing I think that people miss on this one, is I do believe we have a first 11, not the squad, because the squad's quite poor when it actually comes down to it. But a first 11, I think we have a first 11 that can challenge for fourth place. Now, I haven't spoke with you much, Orin, but people know my opinion on this, but I'll say it to you so you get it. You can make an average team look very good if you play everybody the right way, if you play everybody to what they are best at doing, if you play everybody to how they know how to play at their best, if you get the formation right for them. It clearly isn't working. And 18 months, Ange should already see this by now. With a lot of what you said, I agree with just now, But it's been pretty much the same for 18 months now. Again, now we go back to the manager. He hasn't got the cards he wants to play with. So he's got to adapt to what he has got. Instead of being so stubborn, this is where the question is he that stubborn? Is he that naive? Or does he just have a lack of knowledge of football? Because what you do to go and get 3 points is
what's
you
he meant
adapt.
to do? You tell me. Sorry,
what's he meant to do?
But I keep hearing he needs to change the system. So what's he meant to do? What should Spurs play to you? Should they be defensive?
First things first.
What should they do?
when we need to be. I think we look significantly better when we're playing counter attack, counter press, yeah, instead
Right.
of just pressing
Which
forward all
Spurs
the
do
time.
against Aston Villa and the teams they've beaten because they've scored goals.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly, because when we played against City twice and when we played against Villa, we didn't use the inverted wing back crap. And then as soon as we went back to doing that, we got done again. And that is what I was
They did,
stating
Tom.
earlier.
That's what I'm
Yeah.
trying to say. They
And
did.
that is what I'm saying earlier. So maybe he should realise that that is the way that works and that is the way we should play all the time. And now in certain games, yes, you have to adapt again. In games like against Southampton, you could have stuck us 4 on that pitch and we'd have probably still scored 3 goals. That's got to be one of the most awful teams I've ever seen in the Premiership, in the Premier League. But 5-0 against any Premier League team is 5-0, good result, end of. Even though Southampton were that shockingly crap. But it's still 5-0, so I'm a happy man. But 18 months he's had to sort this out. And if he knows he's got to wait longer to get the players in, he's got to get these players playing to a way that wins games. Not entertainment. Entertainment don't come into football in the aspect of where you finish in the league. Some fans might want to see entertainment, but if you want to finish somewhere in the top 4 or even go for a title, which we're not going to do, or a cup, you have got to do whatever it takes to win. And he doesn't. He's even said he won't. There is times in games and certain teams where you have to be pragmatic. Come love nor money, you got to do it. And there's other teams that you can go up against and just give it gung-ho football. Other point I make with him, why is it after the first anything from 20 to 30 minutes, we always look shattered, absolutely knackered. And then we come on after half-time, and then after about 15 minutes after that, we look knackered. Why? Because you cannot play this system game in, game out, 90 minutes, 38 games a season, forget the cup games, unless you are bloody AI robots, yeah? Go give him the best team the world has ever seen of players. We will still concede too many goals to win a league because we are so open at the back. Now, I'll ask you a question. Would you say our biggest problem at Spurs is the defence?
No.
No?
No.
Because we do score goals.
It's not the defence because Spurs. I've said this before. Spurs have I think Spurs are the 3rd best team in defence this season.
But we've also lost 7 games.
Yeah, but it's been narrow. It's been 1.
Right.
It's been 1-0.
Who cares?
And again,
who cares whether
look
it's
at
10-0
the
or 1-0?
teams. Look at the teams that Spurs have lost against.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I think that plays a big part into it. But Dan, the last time you were saying is that the Premiership is the most competitive league in the world.
Yes, it is.
So basically, Fulham won and got a draw with Liverpool. Yes, I buy it by 9 men.
I agree with that.
It's. I was saying before we came on, as a fan of football, the Premiership is the most exciting time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Nottingham Forest, any team. So basically, it's easy to sit there. It would be easy for me to sit there and go, he needs to do this. But I also have to look at what the other team is doing and what the other team, because when Spurs lose, when Spurs lose, it's terrible. But when they win, it's amazing. He's got the tactics right. Even when Spurs win, I can still see flaws. I can still see flaws with that win.
Exactly.
But that's the thing. I can also see flaws with another team.
Like you just said, when you see the flaws with the other team, this is where you can tell that one manager is sharper than the other. When he sees the flaws in his team and sees the flaws in the other team, he adapts his team that little bit to then work on the flaws of the other team. That is how you adapt when you're playing football in a match.
Spurs do the same thing.
But Ange don't do it.
He does do
exactly.
It. He does do it.
Exactly. We do the same thing. That is why we're so predictable.
No. What I'm saying, Ange does this. He adapts as well. But if the player, like you're saying, 1 minute you're saying, play the cards that you have. So what should Ange do then? Should he be more pragmatic or not be pragmatic? Because
as the game goes, it depends who you're playing. It depends how the game's going.
Right. So
I
see the changes.
Before you go further, when he says pragmatic, that doesn't mean defensive. I think there's two there's different meanings of pragmatic.
Like what should he do?
So basically, I think what some of the fans are saying, I'm not saying you necessarily, Dan, but game management is a term that's often brought up against Ange, where, for example, when we were in a lead, sometimes instead of full throttle, keep going at 100 miles per hour. There's times when we need to maybe slow it down,
Slow
slow the
down.
intensity down, and just
Control the game.
keep hold of the ball. So keep hold of the
Yes,
ball where we control the tempo, where we're not trying to go
exactly.
for the jugular. We're not trying to go for another goal. And I understand, like, what do you, all right, cool. Let me phrase it differently, Oren. Do you think Ange is better to go for 3-4-5, or do you think it's better for Ange to acknowledge the team that he has in front of him and control games and maybe manage the game, have game management? Which one do you think needs to be adopted more?
Well, 3-4-5, because having 3 goals in the Premiership is not enough today. It's not. Like, we've seen it so many times. And like, under Conte, he was pragmatic. He would just sit back and defend.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Jose would do the same thing. So it's a case of Ange wants more goals because it puts it be constantly on the front foot. Because the way I look at it is that it's about how you win. So basically, if Spurs win a game by 4 goals,
Mm-hmm.
they go into the next match. And I understand that the fatigue and everything is going on, but again, maybe that's down to the players. Maybe they're not doing enough conditioning wise. If you look at the best players in the world, Ronaldo, Messi, even Harry Kane. Remember Harry Kane was always getting injured in the season, then he just vanished. He got a nutritionist in. So that's with the Ange way, is being the front foot, press, attack. Against Southampton, the second half, they slow down.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
Same
So
as
that's
we
what I'm
should have
saying.
done against Brighton, being
against
2-0 up.
Yes, but Brighton was a different scenario. Brighton came out and they were pushing Spurs back. And like I said before, I will agree. Well, yeah. When Spurs are pressured, Paul Merson said it perfectly. He says, when Spurs are 4-0 up, all the players want the ball. All want the ball. I think this was when against Chelsea. He says all the players want the ball. But when Spurs are struggling, there's no one who steps up on that pitch and decides to do something.
Mm-hmm.
And Ange doesn't do jack either most of the time.
Ange's the manager. He can shout as much as he wants. It's like you shouting at a person not to do something, and they're just looking at you going, okay.
But he's the
and
manager.
do exactly the same thing.
He's the manager, though, Oren. He needs
So
to get
Yes, I know, but if
they look on it like that, then obviously they've got no respect for their manager, then, have they?
No, it's not. It's not about respect. It's hard to that's like if you're running, if you're tired or fatigued, and I keep telling you, get up, keep going. You can't do it. So as I've said it before, I've agreed. Ange, the two midfield, and I said this from last season. I said Basuma's good, but I was always clear of him. But Bentancur does not fit the system. He doesn't have the energy and the stamina. And again, if you look at Sorry, yes, it's against Southampton. Before anyone says anything or whatever, but look at how he was energized. He was passing the ball, he was pressing, and I think that's what Sarr could do, and Bergville was do the same thing. So it's a case of, yes, the manager can shout and shout and shout and shout, but the players have to take responsibility. They're getting paid.
We're not telling him not to take any responsibility. I'm just saying, especially because there's this whole youth argument, or we use young players argument, and some people even argue that apparently some of the players don't know Ange, I've even seen now. Then surely they need even more instructions from the manager on the touchline about how to either play his style or to deal with certain scenarios in the game.
But the other point is surely Ange can get the word on the pitch of when we're 2-0 up and still going gung-ho. Are you telling me he can't go?
He wasn't going gung-ho against Brighton. You're seeing a completely...
You're
remembering
I'm talking about indifferent. I'm talking about overall. Yeah.
Overall, they don't go gung-ho.
Can he not? Yes, they do. Can he not
don't go gung-ho.
Get the mood over to the players and say, slow down, boys. Slow down a bit. Take the pressure. Slow down. Control the game. That is his plan B on the pitch and slow it down. So if the players don't listen to him, they obviously don't respect their man, do they?
All right, Oren, before you come in, let me see if I can add some fuel to it.
Yeah. It's a lot longer. You've got me fucking stay longer.
Obviously, Klopp here is a bad example, but he's the perfect example at the same time because he did play on the front foot. He was very much gung-ho. I think obviously the major difference between him, before I get to Alisson and Van Dijk, when he was still in cup finals and pushing up the league, getting into Champions League, he did have obviously Salah, and he did obviously have Mane, but he did play on the front foot. He was literally on the front foot more or less the time, proving that you can play on the front foot, and that can get you top four technically. Do you know what I mean? And this is without Alisson, and this is without Van Dijk. Those were the final pieces that obviously won him the Champions League.
Who was in the midfield though?
They had
Henderson, wasn't it?
engines. They had a couple engines. They had a couple engines. Henderson,
the difference
Wijnaldum,
and Ange is
and they had
played with a 6. We don't play with a 6.
It's because Spurs don't have a 6 at this moment in time.
But Ange
are you saying then, Oren, if
Bentancur is a 6? Bentancur is a DM. He's a DM deep line playmaker. He'd done it 3-4 years straight at Juventus. I watched it. I watch Serie A. I like the Premier League.
No, I can vouch for that. You do watch a lot of Serie A.
What are you saying, Ash?
Yeah, no. I'm just saying. Are you thinking then? Because I said earlier that Ange doesn't play with 6s; he plays with 6, 8, 10s. Like he wants his midfielders to do all things. But are you actually saying that? Nah. In fact, I think he actually does need a DM to sit, like a Fabinho to sit, and then you've got 2 engines next to.
That's what he wants. Like I think
an anchor man, a Wanyama, Gatasu, a Keane.
That's what he wants, and I think, as I said earlier in the stream, I think that's the next year they're looking at for sure. And then the player you brought up, it was actually, the player you brought up was because after Bissouma got sent off, it was kind of like, I think that was a final nail in the coffin for him. He's just been, because he's meant to be a leader. So if you look at, he's got to go. And Bentancur, I think, injury or not, he just have inconsistent games. But I think Ange. No, the next thing is because
say Son.
It's who do you get the top, like who out there? Who out there is a top
Captain Son? Captain Son. Does he? What is he?
Didn't he go get Atalanta? Isn't that one that Paratici?
I think Man City are looking at him.
But Paratici just buy him in the summer, and we didn't.
They did. Yeah. But Man City are now looking at him. Liverpool are looking at him.
Now it's got Archie Gray.
Edison. Atalanta. Yeah. We decided to go for the youth route, and we looked at them and training.
Could never actually see a bloody game.
They played against Southampton. And they played in all the European clubs.
For the first time they played it. I mean, as Archie Gray actually even played as a DM.
For 5 minutes.
2 of them came on for 8 minutes and bloody 2 minutes.
But they played in Europa League as well. They played
against a team and struggled with a team like Carrierbag, where Archie Gray was getting destroyed and had to get covered because
they were down to 10
players on him.
They were down to 10 men. So
against a team like that, and
it's the fact. It's weird. It's like you're slating 18-year-old kids. That's just mad. Like
no, what I'm saying is
you're slating 18-year-old kids.
If we are playing this youth system, shouldn't they be playing a lot more?
But they are playing a lot more than they're feeding it. Right, look at the criticism that you and other fans are giving these kids for not playing. Imagine if they played.
I'm not criticising them for not playing. I'm criticising Ange for them not playing.
But Ange has said over and over again, you just don't want to listen. You want to hear and then pick shit that you can criticise them with. Ange said every youth player throughout history. Right, let's have a look at all the youth players that came through the Premiership.
Mm-hmm.
Name players or a team that has played 18-year-olds every single game in the history of the Premiership. There is an answer. Right,
Liverpool have done it enough. Man U have done it enough. City
name one of them. Name one of those 18-year-old players.
Chelsea used to do it, and if we
name one of those players
further, don't get me to name names. I am one of the worst ones at it. And
okay.
Orange, we used to do it on
I ain't good at names.
The what?
On the Martin Yole, he used to do it on a regular basis. He gave Bale his debut at 18.
Who was 18?
Bale regularly. Yeah, he gave Bale Aaron Lennon. Sorry,
Martin Yole was 18.
Martin Yole was Tottenham.
Yes, I know Martin Yole was Tottenham, but I'm asking who did he play when he was 18?
Sorry?
Who did he play at 18? Like, who was 18?
I just said Gareth Bale, Aaron Lennon, Reto Ziegler. There's like a whole list.
Right, okay. And when did Gareth Bale become good? Wasn't he in the
Well, we
brink of
suffered-
getting
We're
over?
not saying, we're not even saying getting that far. We're just saying he's not playing these players regularly.
But he is
Yeah.
playing. He's playing them in the
No,
Europa
he's not.
League, and he's already. He
Yeah.
plays them in the Europa League. Archie Gray has pretty much started every game in the Europa League. What are you talking about?
Yeah, a couple of games.
But that's
couple
still
of games
playing
to
them.
what he should
So
be
what-
seeing.
So do you want him? So what?
And they haven't even played him in position.
That's fine. He's getting experience. That's already been explained.
So right,
That's
so we
what-
bought
that's
this
what
40
happened.
million,
So
we bought this
basically,
40
why
million
you're
pound
upset is because
DM
Ange's not doing. So that's
to
the
play
thing.
on the right or the
I-
left or
you see,
centre back.
What I think, 17 games this season. Thank you
But
for
not-
bringing it up.
not-
17
not-
games this
not
season.
number 6 though.
But
He's
it doesn't.
playing
But,
everywhere
right,
else.
so it's a case of Archie Gray's not playing enough. He's played
No,
70 games this season.
It's more the argument where he's playing, not.
But
about-
so it's not about him not playing enough games. It's where he's playing now.
No.
So that's the next thing
If
you
you want
guys.
to develop a player, Orion, wouldn't you play him in his best position? Yes or no?
He doesn't
But
need to
he's
play.
not
Just
gonna
answer
get-
the question, yes or no. If you want to develop a player, would you play him in his best position, his actual position? Would you play him everywhere else? Just answer the question, yes or no. It's just very
Yes, you
simple.
play him in his best position.
Yeah,
Yes,
so where's Gray been playing everywhere else?
because Gray's
Right,
getting
right,
experience
right.
in those different positions.
So
Again,
what-
that's been
he's a
we
number
talked
6,
about this
but
over
he's-
and over and over again.
Okay.
He's just getting put there because there's no bloody one else to put there, basically, due to such a shit transfer window. Look, when it comes down to it, they are not playing regular football in the Premier League.
But that's the Premier League. The Premier League is tough because look
Right.
at
But this
the
is
way.
meant to
Look
be
at the
a
way they-
youth project. So if you're going to do a youth project, do it properly. I mean, look,
So you want it- so
we
you're-
was
you're-
5-0 up against Southampton,
right.
and we didn't bring on 2 of the youth players until like what was it, 82 minutes? When you
Well-
could have brought them on with 30 minutes left. And do you know what? Like Stell said, like Brian said, you could have even brought the bloody goalkeeper on and he would have got 45 minutes on there or 30 minutes. It was obvious. It was done. It was dusted. It was the easiest decision ever
But he
to
was
make.
playing with
They
youth
were
players.
not
and the
going to
reason
get
why he kept
fired,
Solanke on is
and
because
he would have
Solanke
relaxed
didn't get a
other
goal.
players
It's-
and give them a bit of
it's-
time off. And the
it's
youth
looking-
players would have got 30 to 45 minutes in a
It's-
Premier League game.
But it's the bigger picture. That's what you guys don't see because you're so narrow-minded of Ange,
What's the
everything
bigger
Ange's
picture?
doing
What's the bigger
wrong.
picture
Not,
then? What's the bigger
that's the thing.
Well, no. If I'm narrow-minded, I wouldn't be saying play the players now and get them
But
experience
that's
now,
what I'm trying to
so
say.
they get better
he
in
is
the
playing the
future.
players now. Archie Gray started 17 games, but it's a wrong position. Lucas Birdville has started games as well, or he's came on, but they're
Archie
still
Gray
developing.
started 17.
Archie Gray started 17 games this season. Not started. He's played in 17 games this season.
Right,
So he's
that's
got
better.
time.
I was going to say he started.
No, he's getting game, and basically it's like 18-year-olds being brought in slowly because Archie Gray has never played in the Premiership before. Birdville has never played in the Premiership.
I
before.
agree. That
So
is why we
basically,
should
you
have
have to
spent the money
drip
on
blood
him.
them. You have to blood them in, which is gonna happen, and it's happening now.
Do you think,
we're
like,
witnessing-
you
we're
see how Diblin, he's 18, right?
Who?
You
Yamal-
think Diblin,
Yamal at Barcelona,
Diblin, no,
That's
just to
not
stay with Diblin.
Barcelona.
Oh, hold on, we're going too
Yeah,
fast.
sorry.
Let's stay with Diblin. Let's not talk about Yamal. He's a unicorn. Diblin is 18. He started for Southampton. Do you think it's the level of quality of player? So Diblin, some might say that Diblin's a higher level quality than Archie Gray in terms of being ready now, or is it where Southampton are at? Maybe there's less expectation, and that's the reason why Diblin's getting a start and Archie Gray isn't getting a start at Tottenham because Tottenham's expectation is a bit higher in terms of we were pushing for Europe, and so the league's a bit more. There's a bit more pressure in that sense. Am I making sense? Do you think
then
it's got to do with that?
But then Southampton have always played.
Okay, maybe not Southampton then. For example, Archie Gray was going to Brentford. Do you
Yeah,
think he would have got more games at Brentford, like in the
Yes.
Premier League, than he would have
probably,
at Tottenham?
Yeah.
And do you
Yes.
think that's because of the pressure that Tottenham have as a club? Obviously, we're top 4, top 6, and we can't get it right or we can't get it wrong at this level because that would ruin the youngsters'
Okay.
opportunity, like the youngsters' confidence, for example.
But then why call this a youth project then?
But I mean, Oren, you can answer that. Was it called a youth project? I
And
don't
he
know.
would have
I
got more
well,
against Brentford. It's just we ended up offering more money, and it was Leeds that dropped the deal and said you're going to Spurs basically. And he was never going to get a look in midfield because there's 5 or 6 international players in front of him, unless basically half that midfield gets absolutely wiped out. And 40 million could have got spent on a player that
It
we
wasn't.
need
It wasn't. It
now.
wasn't 40 million.
Well, if you want to add everything up together in the metric system, it was 40 million because we gave them a player worth 12.5 and we played 30. So if you want to make it like that, 42. But if you go by cash, 30. So whatever way you want to look at it,
Yeah. So
it was
basically,
still worth 40 million when we got him. We could have got a player who could play now for that sort of money. That is what people complain about with Archie Gray.
Name the player you can got for 40 million who's be at the top level or a good top level.
Locatelli.
Who?
Locatelli. He was on sale. 25.
Who? I've never heard of him. Who does he
Play
play?
for
It just obviously shows you don't watch international football or Italian football.
He's like a
I don't watch Italian football. I'll agree because I only watch English football.
Or international football. He's one of the best known Italian players out there.
Well,
he had a really good Euros, didn't he? Was it Euros or World Cup? I don't remember which one. He was really good in that, wasn't he?
Yeah.
So basically, who would Spurs have had to? So Spurs get this player in. Who did they sell? Because who's going to sit on the bench? Is Bentancur going to sell?
We were going to skip anyway, didn't we? This summer, so
yeah. The only thing I would say is that Ange wanted Gallagher, innit? Then obviously Gallagher went to Atletico Madrid. He was never going to come to Spurs. He
was never going to go Spurs.
But, yeah, I know that, but I'm just saying. Obviously, he's proper Chelsea. He's never going to come. But Ange wanted him
as well.
Ange wanted a ready now for me box to box midfielder that could possibly start. And he didn't get him. So the next person that Lange brought in or was looking at was Ramsey, and then that kind of went cold. And then we were linked, from my knowledge, and I could be wrong, we actually were linked with Morgan Gibbs-White.
Yeah,
and then Morgan Gibbs-White situation, that never happened. That never materialized because the club looked at Archie Gray and Bergvall. This is the thing I saw, and they were like, these kids, they're actually like outperforming in training much better than we thought they were. So we're gonna pull the plug on that Morgan Gibbs-White kind of transfer, and we're gonna give these kids a go. We don't want to block their pathway. Do you know what I'm saying?
See, all the signings that Ange has made, what I've noticed is that they're all hard-working players.
Yes, correct. Engines, hard-working,
all hard-working players, and I think that's why that's why he wanted Gallagher, because Gallagher is a hard-working. Yeah, he's not flashy. He's not going to be,
as well. Yeah.
And I get that. It's easy for fans to say this player should have been bought. This player should have been bought, but Ange sat down with Scott Mann and all and said, we're going to bring in players that want to come to this club and respect this club and believe that they're playing for a big club. No more Ndombele's, no more Lo Celso, no more of those, because they're a waste of talent. Spurs spent those players and they didn't work out. Buying in a player for 50, 60 million, you don't know if they're going to work out.
You don't know if any player will ever work out.
Exactly. So therefore you have to...
But when you've seen a player play consistently in a higher level, you've got more of an idea that they will work out. And by the time our youth players start, if we don't buy no good players for that first team, we will just go nowhere fast. And then let's just say Archie Gray and Bergvall end up very, very good players. Who knows? They might end up spectacular. They might end up crap. We don't know. But they start getting really good. Any other good players that we've got, Romero's going to be gone. Van der Ven, if we don't finish in Champions League in the next 2 seasons, he's going to be taken up by Bayern Munich, or I would say Real Madrid might even go for him for his pace. Porro's going to be gone as well. And then they're going to be sitting there and thinking, why am I staying at this dickhead club that don't buy no decent players, that never wins anything, that never wants to do nothing, that only keeps buying. Do you know what? I'm going to go to that other club that wins stuff and offers me money. And then we go through this system again of buying youth players. Where are we meant to go with that?
But that's the kind of thing. A decent players is depending on how good that player individually wants to be. It's up to the player. It's up to them how good they want to be. So you can buy any player into a club, and if they decided that they wanted to be the best, they will become the best. Spurs are no longer a selling club. Ericsson, when he was bought, how much was he bought for? 12 million. He decided he was going to knuckle down and become who he is. And then he faded towards the end. Dele Alli, 5 million. He was focused for a while. Harry Kane, free. Did
Kane
Spurs
is an
did Spurs
anomaly, really.
did Spurs make Harry Kane a better player, or did Harry Kane make himself a better player?
Can I
He's an anomaly.
change it real quick? I know, like we can stay on this topic real quick, but I do want to talk about Son because Son for me is a player like he's a club legend. Let's face it, because he has broken the record or equaled the record of assists, all-time assists, and he is one of our players that we rely on to perform week in week out. Whether he's done it this season is a different debate. But do you not think Son is done? Do you think he's finished? Is it time to move on? Like, or
We
do you
sh-
think Son can still have a good season?
we
Anyone?
should have moved him. We should have moved him on 3 years ago, while we could still get significant money for him. In my opinion, is Son done as a player? No, not totally. Is he done as a top 4 player? 110%. Is he done as a top 6 player? Very highly. He's lost stamina in a big way, and you can see that. He's still quick, but he's definitely lost pace as well, i.e. why he struggles so hard to beat his man. Timo Werner can beat his man better than Son can these days. That's going some. His shooting is still top class, but over the past 4 or 5 games, it has been pretty poor to some of the chances he's had. For me now, Son is more of a player that I'd want to bring on for 20, 30 minutes in the second half to finish a game or to get me that goal. I don't think he is a 90-minute player anymore. He looks absolutely knackered, and I think he is a terrible captain. Yes, he's been a legend. Yes, he's been brilliant. But this is, again, at Spurs, where we are too accepting, too loving, and want to kiss him on the cheek and say, please stay here forever. Well, sorry, mate, it's a dog-eat-dog world, and we need players that can do it now. Keep him in the team, but he is not... We need to go and get better. We need to progress now. He's on his way down. He's deteriorating. And that is
Cool.
purely down to age.
Cool, got it,
Not
got
his
it,
fault.
got it. Loud and clear. Go. Oren then has, because
Right,
I've got a feeling you're similar to Danny. But go on, Oren.
Yeah, I think Son is coming down in his years. I mean, he's 32 now, and he's still got the pace and everything. And I think it's just a case of he just father clock is the grand time of all, catches up with everyone. As far as, and I think they have brought in a replacement, and you're not going to like it, but he's 18. I think that's a direct Son replacement right there. I think when he comes in, so I think Son, maybe he'll sign that extension one more season, and as far as him staying at the club, fair play to him. I'm sure he could have asked for a transfer left, but he likes to. He wants to stay at Spurs. He wants to win something with Spurs, and that's at the moment is what kind of players Spurs need around the club. They need players who believe in the club. They need players who's not going to jump straight to criticize this or criticize that. As a manager, I think Son's very good at encouraging players behind the scenes. There was a video of him talking and making sure he's talking to every single player. Every player says he's such a genuine person. On the pitch, can he be more vocal? Of course he can. But I do think that, some players shout. Well, Flip, I don't think you see much players shouting and ranting and raving on other players now in today's football. Probably sort of fight on the pitch. Players are so sensitive and over emotional. I just think, he's a good player, and on his day he can still perform. And I think he's a lot better for the club than he is, because let's be honest. Yes, people will say, or like Dan said, they should have sold him years ago. But can you imagine the fucking uproar selling him? Because who are you going to replace him with? You can't replace him with a Son direct.
3 years ago, if we'd have got rid of him, we'd have easily got 60 million for him still.
I get that, but who do you replace him with?
Replace him with?
But
there's plenty of options out there you can go for.
Yes, but that's the thing. If a club knows that you've got 60 million to spend, then the player you're trying to buy is going to cost even more. They're going to increase it. That's how it works.
What you do, you go. I know that. So what you do, you go to basically any other league in the world, which is pretty much desperate for money, because apart from PSG in France, they're pretty much all up street. Italy is in serious trouble when it comes to money. Bar Inter Milan, even Napoli ain't exactly rich, but they definitely got a little bit of money behind them. AC Milan are nothing to what they were. Germany, you've got Bayern Munich, and that is you've got Leipzig as well. We've got a little bit of money, but apart from that, every other European country we can go to and get very good players for a
But would they be?
respectable price.
Yes,
Whereas in the
true.
Premiership, you buy them, you have to pay 25% extra because it's the Premier League. I mean, for 60 million, we could have gone and if we'd have put 60 million up front this season, we could have gone and got Eze.
But how has Eze performed this season?
I think
All
as a
right.
whole,
He hasn't been great.
Palace have not been performing well, in my opinion.
No, Palace have. That's what I was going to say. Palace haven't been
wanted to
great.
bring
It's a bit unsettled anyway because obviously there was links with Glasner leaving in the summer. There was links with other players leaving in the summer. Anderson left. Like it's not like it's perfect for him to play anyway. Like to his best, I don't think personally. But sorry, on Son, yeah. Do you want to tell me on Son?
Yeah. No, I was going to ask you about Son. Would you trust that Spurs to replace him? Do you know what I mean? If we were to get rid of him this season, as Orange has said, Mikey Moore's there. Can Mikey Moore hold up the fort? As talented as he is, we did
Sorry,
see
not
him
Mikey
struggle.
Moore. The Chinese kid, the Korean kid they bought.
Oh,
You mean
Hyuk.
the South Korean kid?
Yamin Hyuk.
Yamin Hyuk, yeah. Isn't he Korean?
Is he ready as
South
Korean?
Korean.
He's Korean. But let's go with that. Do you think he's ready enough?
No, he's not ready. We all know why we bought him, and they're going to try and push him to keep the Korean fans at the stadium. I'm not saying that's the whole reason, but that is partly a reason.
It's definitely part of it.
Yeah, let's not lie about it. Like for me, with Son, he's done as like a top class player. Like I still think he can do a job, but like I'm with Dan, I'd rather use him as a super sub if we're going to carry on playing this system where I don't think he excels at.
Do you think the system is the part of the problem why you're thinking Son doesn't play as well, or do you think it's just a decline? It's just natural.
So for me,
because remember, Salah's 32 as well. Salah's still banging goals.
Yeah.
He's still performing at a high level.
But I think Salah
Not saying
also,
the same level. Not saying they're the same level.
we kind of ran Son into the ground partly ourselves, and also because he has all those Korean trips where he plays international football. I think he had a summer off, right, didn't he, as well? So, and he's out on a mission to win the Premier League. So, I personally have always been in the Salah over Son camp anyway. So for me, this isn't really.
All right. Do you think if Son was at Liverpool, like Son was on the left and Salah was on the right, do you think Son's numbers would pick up? Do you know what I mean? At Liverpool,
I don't know how much.
Do you think it'd still be the same
I don't know
decline?
how much more because I mean Liverpool's the top of the league, so maybe he would get a few more goals, but I just don't think he has the stamina enough to really do that system, say over 90 minutes, maybe for like 30 minutes.
Son is a player that relies on his pace a hell of a lot. This is why players that I always use example, Kane, Sheringham, and then when you go to other midfielders, older school ones, even Wayne Rooney you can use that don't rely on pace. A majority of Son's game comes down to pace and stamina, quickness. Where he's losing the stamina and the quickness due to his legs, due to his age, he's got to find a way to either adapt his game very well, where he doesn't have to rely on his pace so much, or he'll end up doing a Michael Owen, basically, and his game will just deteriorate where he relied on pace so much. That's how I see it.
So, for example, like, we could cover for his new deficiencies, like lack of pace, by playing, say, him as an inside forward. Maybe it will help him because he doesn't have to go wide as much. Maybe we could change the system to 3-5-2 and playing with Solanke, where, again, he has a partner.
Brilliant.
That's a simple solution. I've been with you with that all the whole time. Or if we're going to carry on doing this, he can only really do it for, as we've seen in the past few games, 30, 40 minutes. He's taken him off at half-time quite a lot, if you notice. So, like, for me, as a top task player, I think he's done. But can he still score a lot of goals every so often and help us win the game here and there off the bench? I think he can. Like, he's still, in my opinion, one of the best finishers at the club.
What I've noticed about Song, and this is not just this season, it's pretty much since he's played at Spurs, is that he's never learned how to master when to make runs. Like, if you look at, again, not saying he's anywhere near the level, but what I noticed about Ronaldo and Messi, they were never sprinting at 100 miles per hour constantly. They would pick their moments of when to sprint. Song has never done that, and I've always said it, like, even when he got the goal of the season, I said, Song should just learn when to go. He's always going to be the defender because of his space, and he's got that acceleration, but he's never mastered just when to chill the fuck out sometimes. He just always wants to go.
But then, all right, can you point that towards the fact that in his defence, we were playing with systems that forced him to press, like Poch's first 2 years, but we were pressing a lot, so he kind of had to do it. And now under Ange, even in his older years, he's been asked to do pressing, which is quite away after like 20 minutes.
Yes, but what I'm saying is like when it comes to his attacking ability.
I think pressing.
Even under Conte and Jose, he was still racing, and it eats up his energy. I think he relies so much on his stamina that isn't there anymore, that he has to learn how to slow down, because I could see that he's wrecked, and it's like, look, just know when to, but that's a player's intelligence.
That's adapting to a game by a player, isn't it? Like what you want your manager to do during the game, isn't it?
Well, yeah, but that's what I'm saying. I don't. Dan,
by
the way, Dan, let me clarify this. You're saying Ange doesn't adapt. I'm saying Ange does.
Ooh.
That's the whole point. I maybe, and because of how I speak, I maybe didn't clarify that. I don't want to make you think that I'm saying Ange shouldn't adapt. I'm saying Ange does adapt.
But how? Can you explain?
Because the system adapts where if Spurs score first, they tend to sit deep so they can hit teams on the counter attack. That's what happens.
I disagree with that. Against Chelsea, we're 2-0 up.
I disagree with that.
Right. Okay, 2-0 up. Brilliant.
No, we had no midfield.
No. Let me answer this.
Analysis where you said we had no midfield.
No, let's have a look. Let's have a look at the goals. Let's have a look. Let's have a look at the goals. Let's have a look at the goals against.
Were we?
The what?
Did you not see Carragher's analysis when we were 2-0 up against Chelsea? And your man telling me we're dropping deep. We had no midfield. Did you not see the analysis?
That's because no.
Did you hear what Harry Redknapp said after as well?
I don't care. I don't care what these people say, because they look at football one way, and I'm telling you what I saw on the pitch. We're not talking about Jimmy Carragher or Harry Redknapp or any of them, right? What I'm saying is
they're more qualified than me, you, Dan, Ash to speak about football, because they actually played the game for how many years?
Right. Okay. Well, how was the first? Right. They say the same shit. How was the first Chelsea goal scored?
Sancho cut inside.
Sancho cut inside.
How deep was the back line? How deep was the back line?
It came further up the wing because we had nobody there. He cut in quite nicely and smashed it across because no one blocked it.
How deep was the back line? Where was Dragusin? Where was the other players meant to mark him? Johnson? Where in the box, right? Yeah. The second goal for Chelsea. What was the second goal for Chelsea?
But we was open on the side.
What was the second goal for Chelsea?
We was inverted.
Open on the side.
What was the second goal for Chelsea?
We just told you.
What? The second goal for Chelsea.
Penalty, isn't it? Wasn't it a penalty?
It was a penalty. It was a penalty. That's the second goal for Chelsea. What was the third goal for Chelsea? What was the third?
Race back. Did you not remember?
No, Basuma didn't have to race back. He made a stupid decision because the ball was passed and he decided to go back. He did it in his own penalty area. He did it in his own penalty area. That's why it was a penalty.
It was a
stupid challenge. It was a stupid challenge. And if he'd used his smartness, if he'd used his intelligence, he would have shepherded the ball out. What was the third goal for Chelsea?
Oren, at the same time, because he was so far up the pitch.
Who was so far up the pitch? What are you talking about? How was Basuma so far up the pitch if he's in the penalty area? He ran back from the D of the penalty area. That's where he ran back from. Yes, it was. No, it wasn't higher up the pitch. Go and watch the game again.
I'm sorry.
The third goal for Chelsea. Where did that come from? What happened there? Where does that score?
The goal was Cucurella ran into the box.
Was it Enzo's one?
Yeah, Enzo on the edge of the box.
Did you not see how we were so open on the sides? Because the fullback's inverted.
No. We're not talking about opening sides. You're saying that there was no midfield. You're saying that Spurs are playing high line.
That goal, Jeremy Carragher's analysis was, where's the midfield? It wasn't even me saying it. It was Carragher.
Yes, exactly. So I'm telling you how he's talking shite because it's the same narrative over and over again. No, these pundits make the same fucking analysis over and over again because they care more about getting praised and liked. And just because if he'd have said something different, you wouldn't agree with him. You're only agreeing with Jamie Carragher because he's saying what you think. That's how it's working. No, and I'm going against it because
I didn't say I agree with everything he said. I'm just saying you're disagreeing with him.
Yes, because Spurs.
You're telling me he has no knowledge of football then. Is that
No,
what
I'm
you're
not
telling me?
saying he has no knowledge of football. I'm saying his interpretation of the game is his
But
interpretation.
I would argue his.
Forget Jamie Carragher, yeah? Jamie Carragher is a prick and we all know it, yeah?
So
Go
midfield,
for
help me
Harry Redknapp.
midfield.
Go for what Harry Redknapp has said. And Harry Redknapp is one of the most respected players in England for the way he could do it. Harry Redknapp was a brilliant manager. He went on TalkSport and he also went on other things and said, like, Ange has got to adapt bloody suit. I have never seen a midfield and defence so open in my entire life of playing football. And Harry Redknapp was quite a simple manager in the aspect of tactics, but he understood on when his team needed to attack and when they also needed to be pragmatic and defend. And he was a very good manager. I think people will vouch for me on this one. Ash,
I love Redknapp.
Yeah.
I love
That's
him.
the thing, you love him
and even
because you love
and
him.
even he blatantly stated it.
Yes,
Even he blatantly stated it, cool as day. Roy Keane has said it, but then we won't take them ones serious, like you say.
but no,
Harry Redknapp's not a pundit.
no, Harry Redknapp, you love Harry Redknapp, so you're going to agree with everything he says, and he's going to say the same thing.
No. I don't work like that. If I agree with you, like earlier, I made you right when I thought you were right, and when I think you are wrong, I will say you are wrong.
Right, I get that, but what I'm saying is that watching games, Spurs have been outdone because they've dropped too deep and they've allowed pressure onto them. The same exact thing they would do with Conte and Jose. They drop deep. Ange doesn't want that. He wants them to press and keep the pressure on the opposing team. As soon as you start dropping deep, players makes mistakes, and that's when goals are scored. If you look at all the goals, and as for the wide areas, yes, that's what most teams score from. They go wide.
Why are the fullbacks so high then?
The fullbacks are high because the two players, Perron and Destiny Udogie, they race forward and just stay there.
So we're not deep then, because two of the fullbacks are high. And we're
yes,
left with
but that's because that's the fullbacks. That's not Ange's system, because the fullbacks should stay deeper.
Because he inverts the fullbacks and plays them more as
it's not.
So are you telling me over 18 months that he hasn't got it over to the inverted wingbacks yet to come back?
Oh my word, fuck's sake. If fullbacks were going out wide, right? If fullbacks were going out wide.
Through your mouth.
No, if fullbacks were going out wide, like you want, they would still be exposed, would they not? Because it'd be high up the pitch.
Drop and not play so high every time.
But they're not meant to. That's the decision on the players. That's
why over 18 months. Are you telling me that Ange could not get it through to their heads? Don't do that. Do it like this.
This is ridiculous.
Yes, because no, it's the players on the pitch who are not doing it, and it's not Ange's fault if those players can't fucking. Remember Harry Winks? Harry Winks played everything safe. No matter how much you told him.
Harry Winks, he's not a fullback.
No, oh my word, I'm just talking in general. Flick, are you going to pick every flipping thing? What I'm saying is...
Fullbacks. Why you bring up Harry Winks? What's Harry Winks got to do with
anything?
Okay,
let me put it this way. When Spurs are attacking, he wants the fullbacks to go high to occupy the centre. But when they're defending, he wants the fullback to drop deep. Counter-attacking, no matter what happens, they're going to get caught up high. The fullbacks are caught up high because a player has misplaced the ball because he's not playing quick enough. That's why. But what I'm saying is that so far this season, Spurs have not conceded a goal from a high line. They've conceded because they've dropped deep and they've allowed crosses to come in. Right. And it works. That's how it works.
There is a very different thing between dropping back because you are pressured back and dropping back because you intentionally mean to come back, yeah? They're two very different things from when I've played football, yeah? And the ones you're talking about is when we've been pressured back. Yet we're still using inverted and getting caught out on the flanks, absolutely naked, knickers around the ankles, basically.
Yes, because they're giving the ball. They're giving the ball away.
So if it's obvious that they stay up there too much and they just ain't adapting to the system, shouldn't Ange have already got through to their heads, like what they should do over 18 months with the time he's had with them, not actually regressed it?
Yes, to you he's regressed, but I don't think they have, because again, it's based on the players, because sometimes they do it, sometimes they don't. And we're
10th in the league. We have regressed.
It's always, that's your opinion. And you're right.
That's a fact.
No, it's your opinion, and you're right.
We are 10th in the league. That is a fact. Or is it 11th?
Because of injury. Yes, but look at the table. Look at the table. It's all crazy right now. You can't say it's regressed because players have improved. Spurs have scored more goals than they have last season. Spurs have scored more goals than they have this stage last season, and have conceded less goals than they have last season.
We've lost more games by this point this season than compared to last.
Yes, because the injuries that's just happened, and
But then we
it's
had
never
injuries
been
last
consistent.
season as well, and no one was saying
Yes, of
anything.
course, that was injury last. But Spurs also had a good run. The first 10 games they won,
But
and
no,
teams
I'm
are
saying
a
no
lot
one was
stronger
saying
this
anything
year.
last season when there were injuries.
Yes, they did. Spurs went through a fucking terrible time
No, I'm
when they
saying
had
this
injuries.
at this point, same point last season when we were like still in around the top 4, no one was saying anything about injuries.
Yes, they were. Spurs were saying how Van de Ven was out, Romero was suspended, Madison was out. There has been like
There's always excuses.
Carry on. Sorry.
yes, but Spurs have been like no. I just think that's fucking Mickey Mouse shit. All that like it's fucking labeling one guy for your fucking life problems. It's just fucking Mickey Mouse shit, and it does nothing. Like go on Sky Sports right now and go on Twitter. All it is, Spurs are gonna fucking bring more negative attention, and I openly say it. All Spurs, so-called Spurs fans who go and protest bring more negative attention than Daniel
Alright,
Levy.
Okay.
Alright,
Let me
are you
ask you a question. Hang on, Naz. Let me ask a question straight here then. Just a straight question, one to
Yeah.
another, yeah?
Yeah.
Don't just take this as football, but take it as life as a whole.
Yep.
There is toxic negative, yeah?
Yes,
But is there
unfortunately,
also
yeah.
toxic?
That's the world that we live in. Yes.
Yes, but is there also toxic positive?
What do you mean toxic positive?
Exactly what I just said.
I don't understand toxic positive. That to me that doesn't exist. Toxic to me means
Okay.
toxicity or bad shit.
So
you can't have.
what you fully understand, okay, is there negativity in the world? Yes.
Yes, of
Is
course.
there positivity in the world? Yes. Can you be too negative about things in life? Yes. Can you be too positive about things in life? Yes.
Yes.
So there's toxic negative and toxic positive. Do we
Right.
agree?
Okay.
Do we agree?
Yeah.
Thank you. Go on, Haz. Sorry.
I was going to ask you, are you happy with one trophy in 24 years?
Am I happy? It doesn't.
Yeah,
I'm a fan. Okay. Am I happy? I don't give a shit. Because if Spurs was to win, no, listen. Haas, let me ask you this, right? If Spurs was to win the FA Cup, or Cup, what does it do for your life? How is it going to make your life better? What's it going to do?
Well, I'm a Spurs fan, so if we win a trophy, I'll be really, really happy.
You'll be happy for what? For what?
My
A day?
team that
2
I
days?
support won a trophy.
3 days? But how's it going to benefit your life? What does it do? Does it make you richer? Does it make you a better house? What does it do? It makes you happy for 1 day. That's it.
No, but I think he's talking about as a football
If you
fan.
need Spurs, if you need,
I don't think Oren's saying like his whole life is dependent on Spurs. Like,
No.
his happiness depends on Spurs. I think
it
outside
doesn't
of
depend on
Spurs,
Spurs.
he
Yeah,
could
that's
be a
what I'm
happy
saying.
person.
I'm happy.
For all we know, Haz could be a happy clapper in life, like positive.
Yeah, I'm a
about
happy
life.
clapper in life, to be honest.
He's always smiling as well. He's on stream. He's never
Yeah,
rattled. He's
so
never
Haas,
changed.
here's the
So-
question,
so we
because
can't really
I
say-
get it. I get it, right? And
But
I know exactly what you're saying. Because there's some people.
on a day
But let me
or
ask you this.
or a summer or like a few years, because I am happy Spurs won a trophy every 3-4 years.
Right, but what I'm saying, let me ask you this. Has Spurs come close to winning trophies in the last 5 to 7 years?
Yes.
Yeah.
And whose fault that was that they didn't win those trophies? On that game, I'm talking about Champions League final, FA Cup final, semi-finals, the Premiership.
Yeah,
Who
you can
is
go
responsible
to
for winning those trophies? When
you can go
Pep
to player and
Guardiola,
manager.
Hey! I'm joking.
yeah, exactly, right? I understand. That's what the point is.
I'll give you an example, right? The semi-final you allude to, which is it the Chelsea one or United one? I mean, it's basically the same applies to me. You look at the bench that Poch had, Nkudu, Janssen, Paul Lopez, players like this who, I'm sorry, are not going to affect the game. Look at Chelsea's bench that had Hazard, who brought on Batshuayi, who went on and affected the game. So
Because Chelsea are run by...
The difference in quality is due to the ownership.
Right, but getting quality depends. The ownership of Chelsea was Roman Abramovich, who was able to spend whatever the fuck he wants, and then they won trophies based on bringing in managers.
Yeah.
Spurs haven't won any trophies because the manager wasn't good enough.
You just alluded to the
The
semi-final.
chairman won't spend money on big
Yes,
players.
yes, exactly. Right. What I'm trying to say, right, If
So if
Poch,
we go and spend the money and pay the wages, there's a good chance that we can win something.
right, but that's what I'm trying to say. Spurs never won those trophies, so they didn't have the wages to then go and bring in top players. Here, top player, do you want to come to a club? We almost won a trophy. We didn't quite win a trophy. By the
But
way,
we're
Man
talking
City.
about
Right.
hold on, we're
I'll
talking,
answer that one. I'll answer that one as well for you then. Most players these days are not like players of 20 years ago, yeah? Most players these days are mercenaries at the end of it. Same as managers, same as most people in life. Money, money, money talks at the end of the day. Yeah? With that stadium, we are the third biggest income in sport. Not just football, sport. And we are also, what is it, seventh in that league of income. We have more income than any other football team on a match day, basically, yeah? Just on one
Right.
match day. And when
Yes.
it comes to fair play and all that, technically, we could go and spend a hell of a lot more money legally than any other. We have got a consistent more amount of money coming through outside the stadium, let alone the football, than most other clubs do on this bloody planet. And it all comes down to one main thing. That prick at the top who might get his little buys and everything, who just will not put the wages down because he is too bothered about his hotels, his NFL, and his go kart. Now,
But
if
they're
this
all
man was
making
to be
right.
50-50, I'd be fine.
Dan,
But
right,
he's 10% Spurs, 90% back
right.
pocket.
Okay, Dan, and this goes to all the chats as
He
well.
even goes down to the point where he slams down the disabled fans and the elderly fans
yeah,
and
that
takes
was
away their season tickets and then adds prices onto it. Tell
But
you what,
so
me and you,
Spurs.
we'll give him a phone call now and say, see you next Thursday, mate.
So
Fuck
does
the
does
elderly.
right. So basically,
What are you saying?
has Spurs the only club who's raised season ticket prices?
No, Manchester
It wasn't
United
even
as
my
well.
argument anyway. I was
Man
just
United
saying,
have as
No,
well.
I'm not talking about this is Dan. It's like, yes, Spurs are making money, like you're saying, Dan,
A
but it
lot
goes
of it.
towards the whole club, all the staff, the coaching, the
yeah, we
players,
know
the
that.
cooks, all of them. It's all going towards that, paying their wages. Spurs are providing a living for all the staff of the club and all the shops. So that's why, you know what, the real reason I think that the protest is stupid is because they're going to stand outside a Spurs supporting shop where you have people who are working, making a living, and they're going to jeopardize that. You don't think about
No,
that.
I don't think so. I think they're trying to get new investors and new owners in. So
Yes, but
if you get
Yeah,
the new
that's why
investors
they
and
no,
new
put,
no.
owners,
What
that's
I'm
why they
saying
put the
is they're
wages
doing
down.
it. They're doing
They
it
want
outside
hotels.
a place of work. Yes, hotels is all going to make Spurs bigger as a club, as an area,
So was this stadium, and it's
and it
still
has
done
done.
jack shit.
Has done. It's one
We
of the
got
best
better
stadiums in the
players at
world.
White Hart. I know that, and we got better players at White Hart Lane, for God's sake. Than we
I
Yeah,
did.
think
but
you
it's
know
there.
what? I think
There
it comes down to trust. Like I think Oren would trust Levy would do the right thing
He has done
ethically.
the right thing.
So what
Ethically,
evidence is there that he's done the right thing, or
no. Ethically, he
What?
thinks that
oh,
what
ethically?
Levy's
Oh, I
doing.
mean, oh,
Yeah, and I'm saying ethically, like Levy has got the club's best interest and his own interests at heart, both of them. Whereas fans are frustrated because they think they're seeing a lot of investment happening, and they acknowledge that he is a great businessman because you can see it. It's clear, right? We announced the new Netflix deal
Tuesday.
with Squid Games, which is lots of Korean fans will eat that up. As has mentioned,
we're
Levy's
milking.
actually building a hotel which cost
Mm.
around 300 million, I believe, or 350 million.
He'll
So
probably end up paying double the price for that as well,
so
like he did
so
for the stadium where he screwed it
yeah,
up.
yeah, of course. So because of that, because of the investment in that hotel, he's going to have to lower the wages to afford to build a hotel and the apartments behind it. But I think Oren's saying that hotel could eventually fund the football club in terms of getting new players and then maybe raising the wages. But I think with a lot of Spurs fans, because the communication has broken down over the years, and we haven't seen the investment spent well in terms of players that we should be going for to get to the next level. I know the argument is what player then? What player should we have got then? And that's where like lines get a bit grey. But it feels like Spurs always go for the cheaper alternative. We don't go for plan A, we go for plan D. You know what I'm saying? We go for plan C.
100%.
That's what
We
it
go
feels
for
like as a fan frustrated.
no, that's a fact.
Just to finish,
Yeah, sorry.
I'm just saying from my perspective, from what I can see from both sides, where Oren will say no, like if we weren't in this big stadium, actually we wouldn't be able to. Like we've broken the record for our transfer kitty 3 to 4 times. We've like bought, but obviously with inflation, you know, you could argue that maybe those players,
Oh, yeah.
you know, are they really breaking the transfer record,
Like
or
Lamella
in line
played
with
it
inflation? The
10 years
60
ago.
million player
Now,
that you'd have
basically.
from what's his face, Solanke, is he really 60 million? Do you know what I'm saying? Because
30
inflation,
10 years ago,
yeah, do
basically.
you know what I mean? It would have been 30 or 40 million 10 years ago. Like when we bought Davinson Sanchez for 40 million. You see what I'm trying to say?
Yeah,
Is he?
I was thinking that way as well, Ashman.
So, but like you can carve it up each ways. But I think what it comes down to is trust. And for Oren, he sees it a little bit different, and his trust isn't broken. But for a lot of fans that are protesting and they want to see the club get to the next level, they feel like the club are more self-sustainable, as in they use the money that just comes into club and then that's it, rather than really going for the juggler, really pushing, really being taking the club to the next level, doing whatever it takes. Do you know what I mean? I think that's where the disconnect is. And I think the trust is that the club will never do what it takes to get us to that trophy or get us into that, get past the top 4. Or when we had Poch, we felt like we're so close. Can Levy, you know, get us to that next level? Now, for me, I would say, for me personally, I would say, Levy, you've done your bit. It's 24 years, coming into 25 years. Some people say, make him stay another 5 years. Me, I'm thinking, look, 24, 25 years of a project. You did your thing. Let someone else have a go. Do you know what I mean? That's what I'm saying.
They're looking to get that, though.
Yeah, and that's all it is. So I think that's all it is. That's all the debate is. But yeah, carry on, Oren. Go on.
Yeah, I think, like, no doubt. Like,
yeah,
my point is, because I knew this was, something told me, like, Daniel Levy's they're looking to sell the club. And I get it. A lot of Spurs fans who don't want Levy there, all the protesters will want an oil tycoon to come in and just buy £100 million, 120 million, as long as they get that's what they care about. And that's fine. I get that. But the thing is it's going against, and you know, I've seen Spurs become bigger and bigger and bigger over the seasons. And Daniel Levy has done all this without winning a trophy. And and for saying that, oh, it's a chairman's fault. And I personally say it and always say it, people who don't like Daniel Levy, it's a personal level. It's a personal thing. That's why
I don't know him, so I can't call it personal.
No, Dan, you refer to him as a prick. You don't call you call him a prick. Why? What's he ever done to you on a personal level?
What's he ever done to me on a personal level?
Yeah.
I'm just stating him for how he acts towards the public.
Right, that's how you. Yeah. So, right.
If I see someone come out with someone that I don't know come out with a sawn off and take someone's kneecaps, I'm going to call him a prick.
But he's never done that. He hasn't done that. He hasn't hurt anybody.
No, he's maybe not hand to hand because he hasn't got the capability, but he's hurt people and fans in a lot of ways.
How? Just because fans get too emotional
and get what too. He done to the disabled fans was for a very good one. What he done to the elderly lot was a very good one.
What has he done to the elderly? So you think Daniel Levy woke up that morning and go, you know what? There's nothing better. No. Let me finish. There's nothing better. There's nothing better than fucking off Spurs fans, because you know what? I get a fucking hard on sitting in that stadium and having loads of Spurs fans booing me and calling me a prick and a baldy fuck. Oh, it's brilliant.
I think he loves sitting there going, do you know what? I can treat these little bitches to the point where I can just say, bring out the gimp, and they will walk over and still do what I tell them.
That's what you think, because maybe that's what
That's what I've seen.
That's not how it works. Daniel Levy.
Arsenal didn't like what was happening, protested, got what they wanted. Man, you didn't.
That's
even
it.
Like the bloody
So
shirt
fans. Daniel Levy's living in an area, and I get it, where these fans think you're entitled. You think you're entitled. You think you can run a club. You think you can run managers, which is fine, but that's not reality. You're upset with a man because he's not playing out your fantasy. He lives in reality, and also for all the chats.
He lives in the business
for all the chats. By the way, for all the chats who are saying Daniel Levy isn't a Spurs fan, Dan, all you got to do is go and Google Daniel Levy, look up his Wikipedia.
I think he's lied enough times, Oren, for me not to.
No. It's on Wikipedia.
I believe he might be a Spurs fan, but when it comes down to the crunch, he is a businessman.
Yes, of course he's a businessman, because that's what he's there to do.
Yes, and what other clubs have
What?
they have a chairman who looks on the football just as important as the business.
Do you
But
know what I'd
Daniel Levy
say?
has done.
You
If
know what it
Daniel
is?
Levy didn't,
Wait, one more thing, just and I'll shut up. But one more thing I would say, and this is outside of like transfers and all that rest of it, because me personally, I get frustrated how long the transfers take, and I do get frustrated that we don't get in for players because of wages, blah blah blah. And it's not just the season; it's for a long time. But anyway, besides all of that money talk, what I heard was the guy called, I forgot his name, James Song Spurs Sheets.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
he does songs at the Spurs Stadium, and he helps to try and improve the environment in around the stadium. And there's a few others that get together, and they try to improve the atmosphere and try not to make it like like a library or too touristy. Because some clubs you start to lose the soul of a football club when you go there. You wanna the fans. The fans are like the lifeblood of the club, and when we're losing, you kind of need the fans to galvanize the team and help push them on. So what I'm saying is, those guys who are part of like creating songs, creating chants, making noise, they got the trumpets, they got the drums, they got the bands. They've tried to work with the club to get support, but now apparently it came out today that they stopped working with them because the club have had poor communication with them. They stopped that communication with them, and so they've decided not to work with the club anymore. So again, it's just another disconnect from the actual club to the people that are trying to help the players, the fans, the atmosphere, and that's nothing to do with money. It's just about disconnecting from the fans to the actual club. It's like they don't care. Do you know what I'm saying? And then even before Levy came out in public, there was a long time when he wouldn't come out, he wouldn't address the
I
fans.
remember
do
that.
you
And
blame him?
they were,
Do you fucking blame him?
but
Some of the
I
stuff
think
that's been said about him,
that's just one of the things. But it's just like it just feels like there's a disconnect between this ruthless businessman that's coming across cold compared to someone that cares about the club as much as we do. Because I think for a lot of people, they really, not for you, Oren. I know you could separate football from your livelihood, and you're saying you don't get it too personal. Where some other fans, it is actually their
Yeah, I
social
get
life.
that.
It is their livelihood. They go there, they look forward to the weekend. They don't do much else. There's nothing wrong with that, by the way, as well.
Yeah,
But
no.
the club is their life. Do you know what I mean? They go,
Yeah.
they look forward to the Friday night. They might meet with their mates in the stadium. They meet up on Saturday. They don't. I remember that's why a lot of people struggled during lockdown because they
Yeah, no,
weren't able to see their
I was like
friends,
that. I'm
their
not gonna admit
family,
I can socialize with
and
friends.
football for a lot of people, that's a big part of it. And Levy has a lot to play in that. Do you know what I'm saying? And I think that's where people have lost that kind of trust because they don't feel like they know him. They don't feel like they can trust him. And the trust has been broken year after year. For me, he told me like when Paratici came in, he didn't tell me personally, but you know what I'm saying? He said that, I'm going to step away from the football and I'm going to distance myself. Do you know what I mean? I'm going to let Paratici get on with it. Then I heard things like, oh yeah, he's involved with Jed Spence, he's involved with the Rich Harrison deal, he's involved with Porro. Then Scott Munn was brought in. He's like, yeah, I'm stepping away from the football. Scott Munn's going to be the intermediary. He's going to deal with the football and it's going to deal with commercial. Then I feel like he's gone back on that and he's involved in the transfers again.
It's still involved
And
there.
so it's like
What transfers?
constant
And
distrust. So apparently, I think, was it Archie Gray? I can't remember what player it was.
Archie Gray.
Was it Archie Gray?
Yeah.
So I can't remember what player it was exactly, but I'm going to say Archie Gray, that he got involved in the actual transfer dealings. And it goes back to like when I watched the documentary that he put together about the stadium.
He's so involved in it.
He's like, one of those bosses that you have that are not
Micromanager.
micromanager. Like anything you do, they want to know. And I remember the story when we bought that player from Ukraine, Solomon, yeah.
Oh yeah.
And basically, he did the deal with that. I can't remember who it was. I can't remember the name of the team that we bought it from.
Shakhtar Donetsk, I think, was it?
Yeah, Donetsk. Was it Shakhtar Donetsk?
Yeah. Or
Basically, he did the deal. He kind of screwed them over because they were in a financial tight spot, and he was like, "I took advantage. Nothing he could do." You can say, "All right, cool. Levy's he's a nifty businessman." Do you know what I mean? It is what it is. He's cold-hearted, and then apparently he did the what do you call it? In the deal that he kind of sorted out, he said, "Let's have a friendly in it," We're gonna do a friendly. We're gonna like share the wages of the door tickets for the friendly, blah blah
Mhm.
blah. And then he said, you know what, I'm gonna throw a couple shirts in as well. Yeah, I'm gonna throw a couple shirts in. Yeah,
Get
and then
some
apparently he charged them for the shirts. I said this guy, but you know what? Not just like I know people that work inside the stadium and work around the club, and they all have the same energy for this brother. Like meaning that this guy is so tight and penny pinching, and he suits the narrative. And I think that's why some people, and I'm sure there's more stories that I haven't even touched on. Do you know what I'm trying to say? That this is the reason why people think I've had enough. This guy doesn't care about the club. He
He has
just
no
cares.
human. He also has no human what's the word?
He's a sociopath.
Empathy,
He's
or
a sociopath.
Like,
yeah.
He's a
what do you
sociopath.
expect? Well, what do you want him to do?
Look,
you want him to
To
cry?
be a top businessman, it's dog eat dog. You got to get to the top.
Yeah.
You don't do it through being nice. I understand that fully, but on the other side of things,
What do you?
even down to the point, what Conte said was very, very true.
Of course,
Romero's gone and said it now.
of course, you're gonna back him. Yeah,
Giovanni's gone and said it now. Other
Lloris.
players will say it now.
of course.
You know,
Throw
he's not-
the club
he's-
under the
he's
bus.
Right.
That paid
Well,
their
Oren,
wages.
you don't care about winning. You proved it to me like 5 minutes ago.
No, what are you talking about? I do care about winning. I'm
Why did
saying,
you say what you asked me what would a trophy do for your life? Yeah,
yeah, for your life, yeah, yeah.
You sat there and went, "Is it going to make you richer? Is it
though? Is it? What's it going to do?
What would a trophy do for you then? Is it the same?
It does
energy?
nothing for me.
What-
That's why on the
Then
day
why
I'll
the
go.
fuck do
I'll
you
do.
even watch football then?
What are you talking about? I watch football. I watch football. Of course,
If
I
you
watch
don't
football.
care about your club, what is the point of sport?
What do you mean I don't
The
care
point
about-
of sport is gold medals, trophies, winning leagues,
Right? Yes.
winning
But
at the top.
but
Winning
the thing is, I grew up. I
Oh,
fucking grew up
sorry,
and matured.
we just
Right? No.
entertain. Yeah,
What I'm
we're
saying
here to
is,
entertain.
right?
I've got-
One at a
Okay.
time,
So
one at a
let's
time.
switch it. Rugby league.
Go
I
on.
watch rugby league. Probably. I don't know if you watch rugby league. I support Wigan.
I'm not into that stuff anyway.
Right? They won all the trophies last season.
Mhm.
On that day,
Was you
cool,
ha- was
brilliant.
you happy?
I move on.
Well,
I
you
move
have
on.
to.
I don't linger because
I
you
want
know,
to win a trophy to move on.
you want to win a trophy, but you're not winning anything. It's the players on
No.
the pitch that's going to win the trophy. It's the manager. You
Tottenham,
don't win
I want
shit.
Tottenham
Okay,
to win
Orange. If they have a
something.
parade, are you not going to come down to the parade?
No, because I live in Northern Ireland. I'm not going to pay fucking all that money just to go.
Well,
And
yes, if you
think
lived in London,
so
would you
so
come
what
down
is
to
it?
the
It's
parade?
bragging rights. That's why you want it. Then it's so you feel better and you go.
No,
Well,
I
enjoy-
want Tottenham to
enjoy
win
the-
because I want my football club to fucking win. Like,
But it's
every
not your
other
football
normal
club.
supporter
You
does.
just support them. You don't own them. You don't own
It's
Spurs.
a figure of speech.
Yes,
If
it's a
you want
figure of
to get the
speech, but the
dictionary
way
out,
you
we
think
prefer-
about it, the
Technically,
way
I
you
would
think about
say
it,
in
you
whatever
don't
way I
own
wish.
Spurs.
We grew
If
up
Spurs,
in
if Spurs was to
areas.
fall
I don't
apart
care if
tomorrow,
I'm in that. Okay, if this suits you better, Tottenham Hotspur Football Club, the club that I support, I wish that they would win because
Yes,
I would
of course.
like
I
Tottenham
wish they would
Hotspur to
win.
more. Does
Yeah.
that suit you better?
yeah, it does because it makes it
Well-
logical. I'm not I want Spurs to win trophies.
All right.
I do, but
All
I'm
right.
not going to get angry and pissed off if they don't because I understand that it's
No.
football. That's what happens. If Spurs win a trophy at the same day, yes,
All right.
I'm going to
You
go
said you
Spurs
just
won.
moved on.
But you know what?
Wait.
When I go into work, my boss isn't going to go, here, Oren, because Spurs won a trophy, here's some fucking wages for you. No.
All right, cool. We know Oren's
What's
standpoint.
that got to do
Wait,
with?
no. Wait, has. We know his standpoint. We know where he's moving on this subject. We're going to go around in circles otherwise.
Yes,
I
yeah,
just
we
wanna-
are. Yeah.
I know, right? No. I just want to quickly back on the football, if I can, because
Yeah,
that's where I'm at now. I just want to know, should Spence get more of a chance now, or do you think Porro should start against Manchester United? Because we got our Manchester United cup quarter final coming up, and I want to know: do you start Porro? Do you start Spence? Does Basuma start for you guys quickly? I just want to know.
I
like,
think,
who
I think
starts for
he'll
your
play
team?
Porro because he didn't play him against Southampton, so that's the foregone conclusion. I don't know
Hmm.
how fit, because Adogi went off, didn't he? So I don't know how fit he's going to be. Maybe Spence will have to play left and Porro might have to play right. But as for Basuma, I don't know, because obviously Bentacle's missing, so maybe Basuma will come straight back in because I don't see Bergwall playing deeper again against United. I just don't see it happening. So there'll be a few changes because of suspensions ending, I guess, with Basuma's case. resting of players. I think expect Kulusevski. I might be wrong, of course. I expect Kulusevski playing in the 10 and John to go back on the right because he didn't play.
Okay.
I just think it's quite unpredictable what we're going to put out. Just you based on the last game and say which players were missing. That normally would.
And do you think Solanke can make an impact in this cup game, or do you think he's wasted in that position? Is he ineffective in that position? What are your thoughts on him?
I don't think, contrary to popular belief, when we signed him, I don't actually think he suits the system because he does almost all the donkey work. By the time, I'm not saying he's the best striker in the world, by the way. I think he's 10 to 15 goals a season. By the time he gets to the chance, he's probably knackered. And also, I just don't think he's clinical enough as well. And I don't know. I just don't think. I'm not confident in this game because of United's last win. So I'm the wrong person to ask, but I don't know. I just don't think he's going to make that much of an impact.
That's fair enough. I was going to ask Oren then. What's your comeback to? You said you think Solanke's ineffective in the system doesn't suit him, and Manchester United are more likely to be the victors.
Solanke works his ass off. The man never stops running. He's always closing down and pressing. I think the reason was what was it? The stats he's had contributions.
I think
how much chances he's been created.
First in sprints. I think turnovers, like winning the ball, but PP.
No, I'm talking about finishing. I'm talking about how many clear-cut chances is he getting per game.
Oh, right, that's different. Yeah.
It's not a lot. I don't think it's a lot.
He's not getting a lot, and I do think when he has got the chances, he's put them away. And of course,
is that down to the system? Then was that back to Hass's point? Is that down to the system? Is that poor?
Well, it's the one player can't cross. We all know Johnson can't cross a fucking ball. Simple as that.
Why is he playing on the wing?
I'll agree with that.
He's playing on the I think Johnson's playing on the wing again to get experience, but he's not a winger. I think Johnson is going to be where Solanke is in a couple of years. If he lasts that long, he's a striker. I don't think he's a winger. And at the time, I don't think, because Kulu's moved in, I think Spurs are, they use him as a winger. They're playing him, getting experience. But I do think his best work is central. And then maybe Spurs will look to get in a winger down the line. Because originally Kulusevski was playing that position, remember?
Do you think Johnson has that movement to become a striker? Does he have enough movement in his locker?
I think he can get behind. He can get behind the. He can get behind defenses and stuff. And I think the problem for Johnson is he can't think. As soon as you get him to think, he fucks up. What he has to do is just be tapping the balls in like he's done. I mean, all his goals pretty much tap-ins, or where he's just got the ball and put it in straight away. But yeah, I think Bissouma, that's a tough one. It's a flipping tough one. God,
damn. Yeah. You can't play Bentancur. Bissouma has to.
But does Ange risk it and go, right, we're going to play almost the same team? Oh. And if they lose, it's, we did play two 18-year-olds. You know what I mean? Does he do that?
So is that an excuse? We played two 18-year-olds. Is that going to be the excuse?
No, it's not flip. Everything's an excuse, all right? Life's an excuse. I'm fucking... I should be in bed. I should be in bed right now. That's an excuse. Yes, it's an excuse. But you know what? It's a valid excuse. Because he is. He's not like saying, I'm playing two 18-year-olds, I'm not playing them. It's valid. I'm not saying that maybe... It's at Spurs. It's a Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. So what should happen is that all the flipping fans should just start singing, get behind the team, and push. It's not like Man United or fucking Global Elite. They were horrible against Man City. They did nothing until a penalty. Yeah. Did you watch the match?
Yeah,
please tell me you watched the match.
Second half actually were pretty good, I thought, personally.
Right. So basically, City are fucking dismantled. They were and I just think that get behind the team.
We just beat Southampton with 5 points, by the way.
5 goals. That sure is Southampton.
5 points, mate. I'm sorry, but winning in a Manchester derby is more of an achievement than beating Southampton with 5 points.
With 5 points?
They literally have 5 points, Southampton.
Yeah, but it's still, but a win's a win.
I'm not disputing the win, but it's the way you're saying as if United aren't they got a new manager. Amarim's a really good manager, by the way. They got new, the new manager bounce. They got new tactics, new ideas.
You're right. That's why they haven't lost since he's took over.
You're not going to let me finish. I'm saying on the back of winning a derby, they have a bit of momentum.
But so do
you're-
Spurs, because Spurs did win 5-0. So they have momentum as well.
That was a massive thing. No, let's just be realistic here. Yeah, Man U despise Man City, same as Man City despise Man U, but they've only really just over the years got a bit of a competition with each other because it was always Man United, Liverpool, because City was always crap. Now they've just gone and done City. They are going to be over the moon without a doubt. They know where to open us up, same as we know where to open them up. It is going to be a very open game because both teams they're so predictable that they're unpredictable in the aspect of, with both of them, nobody knows who's going to show up. Nobody has a clue. I mean, the fact that they've done City, I mean, would you say that was good? Like,
Did
good
they win
result?
City?
Yeah.
Fuck expected. Like, they didn't
Why
know
is
play
that?
City. They didn't know play
Why is
City.
that? Yeah,
What?
but was it a good result that Man U done City? Like, a very good result?
It was a good result for Man United, yeah. I wouldn't say it was very good. I mean, they weren't playing City at the best
Okay.
of the
So
best squad.
us doing City 4-0 was like, we weren't exactly playing the best team as well, sort of thing. And it's only we got
Yeah,
the damage.
I didn't get all sung and danced when Spurs beat them 4-0. I was like, fair play, but let's be honest, City had no back line, didn't have the midfielder. We're fucked with injuries.
Oren, how are you Ange in then? Because you just said that win.
When have I ever said I'm Ange in? When did I say I'm an Ange?
Oh.
So what are you then? Ange whatever.
I'm not Ange in or Ange out.
Ange, I don't
I'm
care.
just down the middle.
I'm
not Ange in or Ange out. I'm just down the middle. I'm not Ange in or Ange out. I don't play those Mickey Mouse shit.
Or Levy out?
I'm not either. I'm in the middle. I'm a logical person who don't fucking commit myself to A or B.
I don't understand.
Yeah, exactly. You can't understand because I've said this before. I don't believe in certain aspects. No, let me try and say this.
Does football matter to you at all in life? Like,
well, obviously, because I used to play it. I used to play it. Let me tell you how football matters. I used to play it. My dad was a captain of my country that I was born in. My brother plays for it. What I'm trying to say to you, Haas, is my life. When I was younger, I had a near-death experience. That made me realize that there's more to life than football. I play football. I watch football. But I'm not going to let a football club or a football team, if they lose, defy my life.
We're not saying it defines my life or Dan's life.
But it clearly does. Because if you're getting upset enough, and for other fans as well, if you're going to waste, if it doesn't affect, it must affect your life. If it doesn't, then you wouldn't need to go and protest. If my team I
support loses, I'm unhappy. That's logical, isn't it?
Yeah, but I don't feel because why? Why do you feel unhappy?
Because my team loses.
Yeah, but that's what I'm trying to say, and that's fine. That's what your mentality is, and that's what Dan's mentality is.
I'm watching Tottenham then because you feel nothing.
But I watch Spurs and I'm saying, what do you mean? Because it's a football game. I'll look at both sides. If Spurs win, it's cool. If they lose, all right, it's football. That's what happens.
Yeah. So in other words,
because I like watching football.
What he's basically saying is you're not that much into it as such. You just like a bit of football.
No, I like watching football.
That's what I just said.
It's impossible for you guys to understand because you are all Spurs. You live Spurs. You'll have a tattoo of Spurs. You look at Spurs as a religion.
That far, mate.
You look at Spurs as a religion.
I get my wife's tattoo on me, and
you look at Spurs as a religion. You look at Spurs. Okay, let me ask you both this question.
Don't insult my religion. No. Don't bring religion into this, man.
No. I just says religiously. No. It is. If you look up the word religion, religion means you're obsessed with a team. Yes, you do.
No, he's not saying your religion.
I do not agree.
No.
He's not saying your religion.
I'm not saying your religion. I'm saying the word religion. The meaning of the word religion. Yes. Right. Okay. Right. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm just trying to explain to you. I see football. When I look at football, yes, as a Spurs fan, I would like Spurs to win games, of course. And sometimes I'm thinking, oh fuck, they've lost. But it's not because I'm sad the team's lost, because I know that all the fucking Spurs fans, all the shit that we say, all the crap they say. What do you mean? What do you mean I'm not a Spurs fan?
Because you just said you're unhappy because all the other Spurs fans are going to be unhappy.
Are going to talk shit, yes, because it's not. But if you're supporting a club, and having constant shit said about that club over and over, Daniel Levy shit, the Spurs, this is shit. I support Spurs and I will always support them, no matter what. Spurs can be in second division, and I'll still support Spurs.
Yeah, I will still support them.
Right,
too.
so that's what I'm trying to say. So I understand it's football, right? I support Spurs no matter what. And I will never slag this club off. I will never slag anyone who works for the club off. I'll never slag people who owns the club. It's not me.
So
It's just not me. It's
fair
not what I
enough,
do.
but so just because someone has something to do with Tottenham Hotspur Football Club, like owner, manager, or player or whatever, you will never ever slander them in any sort of way just because of that.
I don't. That's me. I don't do that. I don't do that in life. I don't sleep people. To me, it's like it's the same as I would sleep.
Earlier, you were saying we need to get rid of Basuma because he's not good enough.
Yes, he's not good enough, but I'm not saying I'm not
Isn't
slating
that
him.
a
I'm
bit
saying
of
I'm not.
slander, really?
No,
You're
he is
saying
not.
he's not good enough.
No. There's different levels of slating. I am saying he is not good enough. I'm not saying he's shit or he's crap or he's rubbish. I'm saying he doesn't fit.
Okay, wait. Let me answer this one then. Is Levy good enough as a chairman?
For what?
Is he good enough to take Spurs to the next level?
In my opinion,
over the course of the 24 years that he's been here, is he done enough in your opinion? Like how we judge Basuma, like how we judge Werner or other players according to what they do on the football pitch. Has Levy done enough in that 24 years? Would Levy have sacked himself basically if he was gonna go on performance level?
But why would he sack himself? He's not the manager of the club.
I mean, in terms of being because I'm saying he's a ruthless owner, he's a ruthless businessman.
Yes.
And in terms of metrics, if he's going to set up a hotel, a business, that business needs to be operating at a certain profit level. And if it's not being run right, he would basically cut it. Just like how he's cut managers. He's cut managers at a drop. They're not getting that top 4. They're not in that top 6, or they're languishing in the wrong half of the table. He's cut them. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And
on that level, would he have sacked himself? That's what I mean.
Would he sacked himself?
On a logical level, non-emotional.
No, because when I've looked at what Levy's done, he hasn't.
Not financial. I'm talking about football. Only football.
Only football. It's a tough question for me to answer.
I know
because again,
isn't it? It's a tough question to find an excuse out of saying he's been terrible, isn't it?
But no, you can say he's terrible. Look, people can say whatever they want.
Trying to come up with a reason and said it's hard to think.
Not slandering, not being malicious. Forget the malicious. Forget the.
No, okay. Well, if you really want to answer, no. Levy doesn't need to sack himself.
He already slandered the protesters, but he doesn't slander anyone.
What do you mean slandering protesters? No, I said protesting. Listen, Haas. Protesting outside Mickey Mouse. I'm not saying individuals. I'm saying people who go and protest brings negative attention to Spurs.
Individuals, though. That's actual people.
Yes, they bring negative attention to Spurs.
So
how's that slating? How's that slating them? It's bringing facts.
They've got passion. What's wrong with having a bit of passion?
There's nothing having a bit of passion, but they're bringing negative to Spurs.
No, but I think what the guy was saying, Jay was saying, and that when I read it out at the start, he wants a peaceful protest. He doesn't want any like racism or any negative connotations. I think the movement is for change. So I think that it's called Tottenham for Change. Correct me if I'm wrong. And I think basically you have the right. Everyone has a right to free speech, to voice their concerns or voice their frustration.
What is their concerns? That's my point.
I think the concern is that for some fans that we're not going the extra mile, in their opinion, in some of these fans' hearts, to do whatever it takes to get to that next level. I think we're operating on a level where we kind of, for example, a lot of the what's the word? Speech has been about being top 4, like getting top 4. The reason why we get top 4 is so we could sell out those corporate boxes. For example, the South Stand, we were sold that, it's for the fans to make like the Borussia Dortmund stadium. It's the wall of noise, blah, blah, blah. But he decided to put a corporate box
Wicked stadium
right in the middle of the South Stand, which kind of defeats the point of where the fans are. Because the fans, you're meant to make like a noise, all inclusive. But he's put the corporate box there, and that's kind of affecting the way we kind of generate noise, and it helps the actual players to perform on the pitch, if that makes sense. I'm kind of waffling here, but basically, yeah.
I've had people who said that the atmosphere of Spurs is electric. So
Some
Have you
people
have
say
you been
that.
there lately? Have you been there?
no, unfortunately, I live in Northern Ireland,
No.
so unfortunately, I
Yeah.
haven't had a
Okay.
chance to go yet.
Yeah. Well, I have. Trust me, it's not electric.
Right.
Just trust me on that one.
So
I
it's
know
it's
quite
not
a few people
boring
this season. It's very, very dead in there at the moment. It is.
at the moment, so it's never
But
going to let down.
basically, like in Dortmund, they might have like cheaper tickets for younger fans. That's why they got like more
They've,
noise, more energy. But
they've
for
got
us,
much more cheaper tickets, Ash. In Signal Andone Park, I've been there a few times, mate. It is a
yeah,
wicked stadium. They're all there, got their beers, getting on it, having a proper good time, and then they even come out with the away fans and have a beer with them and that. Total different kettle
yeah.
of fish out there.
So the
Dortmund.
point I'm trying to
Yeah.
make is like our prices, our ticket seasons, obviously it's gone up for across the board. But we spend the highest tickets in the league at the moment, and I feel like with the corporates being right in the middle, it's like, did you really build it for us, or did you really build it for your corporate to
Making more
make
money.
money? Do you see what I'm trying to say? That's the narrative that's going around. That's the feeling of it, and people thought the stadium would be a game changer, and it feels like we've been misled somewhat. Do you know what I mean? Yes, we do have a level of competitiveness in terms of like competing with the top sixes because we spend the 65 millions. But as I said before, in terms of like wages, it doesn't feel like we go for option A, or seem like we'll go for option C, D, and E for that reason. Do you know what I mean? And so we always miss
Make
out
it more
in getting.
Yeah.
ESG.
So
Ultimately, we miss out in winning those cups because we didn't get that player that can push us over the line. We kind of downgraded on Kane, and for Son, when Son does go, it doesn't look like there's a succession plan
Yeah.
for him that is of the level that helps us to get to the next level. It feels like we're going down and down
We've
and down.
already got Odegaard though.
Just like Dembele. Yeah, Odegaard, he might need time. He might need maybe
Do you
not.
reckon?
From Bale to
He
Werner,
might need
man. 10 years.
maybe not next season, but the following season he might, turn into something good. But even then, there's no guarantee that Odegaard's
so
gonna.
Would you, Ash? Would you not argue then that buying a more established player means? I'm not saying obviously every transfer comes
Yeah,
with risk, of course,
of
right?
course, yes,
I'm going to put it this way, right?
yes,
But would you not argue that signing a player with more, say, own labels more established, like 25, 26,
yeah.
who's had Premier League experience or European, whatever, is a
Mhm.
more less likely to fail transfer than signing a kid, like 18-year-old, for 40 million?
I think like it comes down to recruitment. I think Levy's a part of it because he's the one that does get involved in the transfers a bit, even though he said he's not going to. There's loads of reports that say that his hands are over it. Do you know what I mean? And so
They always
I
have been.
think there is players like, for example, someone said in the comments, Mamouche. Now, Mido came out ages ago. He's Egyptian, and he said to a lot
Yeah,
of
he wanted to
Spurs.
sign Mamouche, didn't he?
Yeah, he was saying Spurs go and sign Mamouche. Now we could have found Mamouche over Solomon. We could have signed Mamouche over Werner as well, but we decided to go for the, Solomon because Solomon was the free. Do you know what I mean? And I think Frankfurt, where he went in the end, he went to Frankfurt for like 15 million euros or 20 million euros. We could have bought him. We could have bought him for that price, and we could have bought him in, but we decided not to, and we went for the free in Solomon. And now Solomon, how that's worked out. Now Mamouche, he's the highest goal scorer in the Bundesliga at the moment. He's scoring all the goals. But as has said, it all comes with risk. Who's to
That's
know
it.
that Mamouche
I'm
would
just asking,
go
Ash,
on?
do you agree, or everyone else, do you agree that signing a more established player is less of a risk than signing a youngster?
Yeah, no, that's what I'm
You
saying.
don't
Like
agree?
Mamouche is my example. Mamouche would have been more of an established player
Yeah.
than maybe
Yeah,
going
sorry,
for
man.
Solomon. Do you know what I mean? That's
Yeah.
probably less established. Do you know what I mean? But
I mean,
it,
to
go on.
get the best and win things, you haven't always got to buy the most expensive player, but then you got to
Yeah,
have some bloody goods.
that's what I mean by Mamouche. Yeah.
Yeah, but then you got to have some bloody good scouts. Yeah, and it seems like a lot of clubs do except us. It seems like our scouts or Daniel Levy.
Remember when that
Even
scout
that,
came out? That scout came out. He said we had Wijnaldum in the stadium, and we had Mane in the stadium.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
well, Mane actually had a they it's the wages.
Grealish,
Yeah, they didn't wages. They wouldn't.
Grealish,
I forget
and
Grealish
then we tried.
because everyone argues about Grealish. Stick on Mane and Wijnaldum because we know
Mane was that
Wijnaldum.
close to sign with Tottenham, that close.
Yep,
Like, we just
we
had to
just
pay.
wouldn't pay his wages,
Yeah.
and we could afford it. But that's
Levy
Levy
stopped
being the tight
that
bastard again.
particular deal from going through. And it's the actual
Purely because-
agent, the actual scout came out and publicly said that he was like,
Yep.
that was the one that we was trying to plead for the club to get done. And remember, Mane had played under Poch, and I think Poch wanted him because
Yeah.
he's like this guy's.
Mane's on the wing, basically.
Yeah, he used to play the wing for me, so I that's a player I
Mane
know
on the right,
personally.
Son
So
on
they
the left.
already had a relationship over Klopp. Do you see what I'm trying to say? So he
And
would have had that bargaining power.
Look,
which you end up walking away because of the league.
when it comes to Tottenham, we've got, like I say, we've got the third biggest income in sport. We're the seventh or eighth richest club in the world. I think we've got some of the highest ticket prices on this entire planet, and the fans have to pay extreme amount for everything. But the things that a lot of us fans feel like, I think, yeah, it's like going shopping, yeah. And when I say shopping, I mean shopping centre close to me. Don't have any Blue Water. I love going shopping up Blue Water when I'm pissed off. I go in there. I like going in House of Fraser. Yeah, get myself a nice top, get some nice jeans and that. Yeah, and I go and pay like 80 quid, £100 for a nice pair of jeans. Why? Because they last. Why? Because they do the job. Why? Because they're a good fit. They last. They're good. It seems like Tottenham, we go out to Lidl's and still pay £100 for some shabby pair of jeans that falls apart in 5 minutes. Yet we're one of the richest clubs out there, and we have to pay the most money. Yet we get the most amount of crap for the amount of money we actually spend. And that is how I feel. I think a lot of fans look at Spurs.
Yeah, I want Oren to because I feel like we've been talking quite a long time, and Oren hasn't had a chance to reply. Sorry, Oren. We do go on for
hours ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's always interested me because if Spurs buy a player and that player turns out great, it's a great investment. But if that player doesn't live up to the fans' expectations, it's shit money spent. And it's kind of like Ndombele was brought in, waste of money. Lo Celso brought in, waste of money. But yet, those are the top players that I think it was Celso as well that Spurs fans wanted. You know, or Spurs fans said it was good. And it's like there's a whole thing to go with transfers. You know, maybe the fantasy is go to a player, throw money at them, give them whatever wages they want, and it'll all be wonderful and work out. And I've said it before. Every club in the Premiership has signed players that they expected high hopes of that didn't work out. Every player.
Correct. Yeah.
And so it just seems that Spurs have done the same thing, but yet it seemed that it's the end of the world. It takes, and yes, it's easy to throw. We want this player. We want that player because that's what I see every transfer window. We want these players. As soon as basically the transfer window is like this, comes up to January, some Twitter journalists, Spurs are linked to these players. Fans look at highlights and go, we need that player. We need that player. We need that player. So basically, all the players so far has been Malicure. Mickey van de Ven. Is he shit?
No,
Romero. Is he shit?
No.
Who else have they bought? Gareth Bale. He at the start, he became a superstar. Yeah. So
but you can easily reel off the whole other names that were crap.
Yes, of course you can. You can focus on all the negative Spurs players that they've bought, but I will
get
focus...
a set of scales out here. Do you want to get a set of scales out and weigh off the good from the bad, the good from the ugly?
Yeah, it's trial and error.
Can I say that if with the signings situation, is there a player like you felt passionate about? For example, I just showed a player in Quentin Timber, and you think, I really like that player. For example, I think he could really like improve us. And then you start to see more links, and you start to like, okay, cool, we can get this. We can get this player over the line. I think that can improve us. And then, you wait all January for him because we've been linked strongly now. There's like multiple sources coming out. Journalists are talking about it. It's on Sky Sports, talk shit, whatever. The papers you read, wherever you get your information. And you're like, cool, this feels like Spurs are moving in the right direction. It comes to the last day of the transfer, and for whatever reason, it says, Spurs are in imminent talks, medicals are getting done, and then all of a sudden, nothing.
Sounds like
nothing. William. But yeah, Dybala. We could go on. But now, all of a sudden, you're like, that player really could have taken Spurs to the next level. Yeah. And then it comes out that, the stumbling block was you know, that we didn't want to pay a particular amount of wages, and all of a sudden they go on to a different club, and then that club, gets that player, and that particular player that you really liked performs really well at that club. Would you start to feel like, you know, oh, if only the club went a little bit further, went that extra mile to get that player that I really liked? Um, that player that's doing well at that club could have done that same thing that they're doing at Spurs and taking us to the next level. Do you know what I mean? Have you ever felt like that about a player? Do you see what I'm saying with analogy? Do you know what I mean?
No, sorry.
No? Okay, cool. Fair enough.
No,
No, fair enough.
like,
Fair enough. No, that's
like
fair.
yes,
That's totally
yes.
fair.
Like
That's
the
totally fair,
the player that you mentioned, I'm thinking, yes, that player would do great for Spurs. But
I only mentioned Neto, for example, because that's one name that was banded about that Ange apparently really, really wanted. And then we lowballed Wolves. We didn't even go for a serious bid. It was like half the money they asked for or something, I read.
I don't even think it was that from what I read in the paper.
Even less than half.
what it was is because we were Skip, because they didn't want to do the power exchange. Levy didn't want to do the deal because he wanted. Remember, Wolves didn't want Skip. They were like, "No, we don't want Skip." But
Does it go
Levy
back
wanted
to
to
one
do
person
money.
then, I guess?
He wanted to do money plus Skip, and they said no. So then, what Levy did eventually was sell Skip anyway, right? So then, when we sold Skip anyway, and then now we've got the money. Obviously, Neto's gone to Chelsea by then. You see what I'm trying to say? But it's because
who did Spurs buy instead of Neto?
Odegaard. We
So
bought
it's Neto.
Odegaard instead of Neto. Odegaard, yeah.
Great choice.
So it's a weird one because obviously, like I said before, Morgan
Hang on.
Gibbs White, we could have gone for him because remember, we didn't get Eze, we didn't get Ramsey. We want that hard working player or a technical player that can play in that, multiple roles in that midfield. Basically, he pulled out of that one because they said they were happy with the youngsters, and the youngsters, again, they're on lower wages. Neto, Odegaard, again, he's on lower wages. He's on much lower wages than a Neto. Do you know what I mean? So then he saved on that. So then the narrative looks like, and then all of a sudden, I remember when it was broke by Chris Cowling that we are going to spend 350 million on the hotel. And then it makes sense that why the wages were getting brought down. And then behind the hotel, he's bought a plot of land where he's going to build the apartments. And obviously, Levy's background is in real estate, and he's that kind of, you know what I mean?
Are they still being cinema?
Yeah, just going to gentrify the area as well. We're going to build a shopping center which has the cinema inside it.
One.
Yeah. There's another one going. Yeah. So, but basically, that's neither here or there. Forget all of that. Forget all I said that. Yeah. It's just that I think in terms of quality, it always feels like Spurs are cutting the corner somehow, some way. Like we spend the money, but then even Solanke, even though we spent big money on him, 65 million, that's over, I think, 5 years. So technically,
30 million down payment, isn't it? I think, and then plus the rest is over.
Yes. So about 25 mil. Yeah. 25 mil, and then the rest is spread over, and it depends on how far or how high we finish in the league
and how many goals he scores,
how many goals and bonuses, which is good business. We can't knock it. It's good business. But you just feel like if we just went that extra bit, like we could probably get the player we do need to kind of kick on. And I said it's a mixture of things because if Levy was to recruit, because he recruits the scouts, he's got to allow the scouts to do the thing. Because for all I know, Lange, even though I'm not, am I rating Lange right now? I'm not really on the side.
He's the one who approached.
I'm going to talk about Lange. Maybe Lange wanted someone like Cherokee. Can't say his name. Cherokee, the brother that plays for Leon. Yeah, he's
Leon,
mad techie. I put him on this channel before.
I remember actually.
Loads of people are talking about him now. I don't know. Loads of opposition fans are now.
What it is they're going? Isn't there a problem? I think with Leon or something.
Leon needs to sell. So that's why loads of clubs are monitoring their situation. Now, imagine Lange might have been a big fan of him, but that might have not been the remit from what Levy said. Like he might have just said, you know what, I don't know about him. Maybe we spend the money different wages. So I don't know if what Lange's target is. I don't know the list of players he wants. So I'm not gonna go fully ham on Lange. Do you know what I mean? Whereas Levy has got more experience.
He pushed Werner, I'm saying, but he went to Ange saying, "Oh, do you want Werner? He's available." That sort of thing. That's what I remember as well.
Look,
Yeah.
the mistake that
Go
he's
on.
made,
Go on.
the mistake, one of the biggest mistakes he made is he just talks too much. Now I get it. He's got to say certain things from a book. Every manager does, yeah. But some of the stuff that this fella has said, I mean, seriously, I'm surprised when he comes out of Levy's office, he ain't walking like John Wayne. I mean, honestly, some of the stuff that he has come out with, he couldn't back up Levy anymore if he tried. And I don't think that Levy has told him to sell half the stuff. He has put so much pressure on himself that he's taken every bit of pressure off of Levy, basically. Even down to the fact that he keeps saying, I signed the players, I want the entertainment, I'm going to win trophies, I'm going to do this, we're going to do that, and then goes through a whole talking thing and everything.
Right, so what should he do?
He's almost said too much. He
So
hasn't done himself no favours.
Should he just slate Levy, say shit, club doesn't back
No,
me? Should he say what you want him to say?
No, he should say his basics. He said way too much. He done himself no favours.
But
what? But nothing.
he can say what he wants. He can say what he wants.
Yeah, he can say
You
what the fuck
rule
he
him?
wants. So can I.
Exactly.
But
Just
what
because
he
you
said,
don't agree
he's
with
done
it.
himself up. No, I don't care really, but he's done himself up like a kipper.
To
Would
who?
you say he's
To who? Do you think?
everyone.
Do you think Ange cares what you think of him or what pundits think of him?
Maybe he does because he had to go at a fan. Remember?
I was about to say,
Yeah, a fan who called him a fat cunt. Yeah.
Not that one. I'm talking about when we played City.
Yeah, and
what he say to City? What did he say? What did that fan say to City? Or that fan? The same game where fans were booing Spurs
because of
and cheering City because they didn't want Arsenal to win. That same match, right? Okay.
No, I'm on about the other game.
I'm talking about Haas. Is that the fan you're talking about?
Yeah, he's had to go at him. He had to go at other fans as well. Like, see, King doesn't think about what the fans think of him because. And you can see on the touchline, he's losing it because for me, what I see on the touchline, he's a worried man.
No, the way he looks is the way he's always looked. You don't like him on a personal level.
What do you mean? I don't know him.
How can I dislike him on a personal level when I don't know him?
So why don't you like him? Is it because he doesn't slobber about? If Ange came out tomorrow and says, you know what?
I have no problem with Ange. If Ange comes down my road and says I need to use your toilet, I'm going to piss myself. Like, come use my toilet, man. You seem like a fair geezer.
Right. So what's the issue then?
You ain't gonna. He doesn't look like.
Who would you prefer, Conte or Ange? Who would you prefer, Conte or Ange?
Conte all day long.
Why? And what did Conte do? And why?
Got us fourth place.
Yeah, exactly.
And then had us
fourth place. Oh, wow.
And then had us in fourth place.
Wow.
And got us out of it. Basically stepped out because of the shit that Levy was giving.
So you slobber at Levy because all Levy cares about is fourth place. But then when Conte does it, he's a messiah. You want it? No, the reason why you like Conte is because he said exactly what you want him to say.
No, I like Conte.
He took the side.
And I like his tactics. I prefer
his tactics. Okay, you watch Italian leagues, right? What tactics does Conte play now with Napoli?
Conte is playing a 3-4-1-2 at times, and then he's playing a 3-5-2 at times, and then he changes it again. Yes, he is.
No, he's not. I've looked at all the. He plays a 4 at the back. In Napoli, he plays a 4 at the back.
He's been playing 3 most of the time.
Highlight. No, sorry, not watch the games. I look at all the statistics. Like I look at the results.
Attention to it, mate. He's played at 3 at the back many a time, or you can even call it 5 at the back, where he uses wing backs and then uses them as wingers.
He's played 4 at the back. His predominant formation for Napoli has been 4 at the back.
You not watch any of the game?
I don't need to watch a game. I go and look at the results. Why do I need to watch a game? I don't like Italian league. It's fucking boring.
At the back many a time.
It's boring. It's boring.
You find it boring. I don't.
Yes, I find it boring.
Personal opinion.
Yes.
And Conte's way has won many things.
So why do you like Conte then? You like Conte because he had a rant about Daniel Levy and he slated Levy.
He won the bloody title with Chelsea.
Because I like his style. I like the way he's a manager.
Who did he win? Who was his competition against that when he won the title?
Tottenham.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And he's won in Italy.
Was he in the European League? Was he in the Champions League at the time?
My second team
Chelsea, when they won that title, didn't play, was knocked out with all the cups. All the cups.
I like Jose Mourinho.
Okay. What happened to him the following season? What happened in the following season? What happened in the following season? What happened to the great Messiah Conte the next season?
Who said anything about a Messiah? I just said I think he's a better manager.
No, the way no, I'm just saying that's what he's been called. What happened in the second season at Chelsea? What happened in the second season at Chelsea?
But that's what you just called him, a Messiah.
What happened in
You're
the next
the
season at
Messiah.
Chelsea?
I think you're the Messiah.
What happened in the next season at
Yeah.
Chelsea?
I think
Okay, I
one-
fucked up. I called him
Where did
Messiah. I
it
fucked
under?
up. What happened in the next season at Chelsea?
Yeah,
Where did
it
he
went
finish?
down under.
Yeah.
It went down
Right.
under.
And what did he
He
do?
won a Premier League
No.
title.
What
But
did he
I
do when he
personally
got sacked?
prefer him as a manager.
But
Full
what did he?
stop.
But why?
You asked
Why?
who I prefer. Why? Because
Why?
I like his tactics better than Ange's.
So you like three? So you like that pragmatic defense attack tactics?
I like 3 at the back, hold it tight, and then
Right.
counter attack with
So
direct
basically,
balls and bang it
you
in.
like Conte because he plays what you want to play.
Because what I like watching
Right.
football. But I also feel with this team, I personally think a 3 at the back, a 3-4-1-2 suits the team much better for the players
Right.
themselves.
So that's what you think.
And look,
So because
yes,
Ange
that is what I think.
isn't playing what you want, he's crap or he's not good enough. Sorry.
No, I didn't say. I didn't say it's because
I know
of
that's what
that.
Gene said. He's not good enough.
I think different tactics would work
Right.
better. But because I've seen his failure to adapt, because I've seen us go like this ever since he's been here, basically up and down, and then I've seen nearly every player deteriorate, apart from maybe Johnson, who can tap it in a bit better, and Kulusevski, because we actually play him in the position that he's played most of his life, apart from 6 months at Juventus. And we are just on the decline. We're doing worse. We might be scoring more goals, but we've already conceded 7 games. He has given me nothing
Daniel
to have
Levy
faith
comes out,
in.
sacks Ange tomorrow. Who do you want? What manager do you want to come in then?
I'd quite happily take Thomas Frank. I mean, we can't go for the Atalanta.
Why would he take Thomas Frank?
Atalanta.
Gasperini.
Why wouldn't he?
But why would he? What has
Why
Thomas
wouldn't he?
Frank done so amazingly
Why
well
wouldn't he?
that he could
I just think he's a
take
good
Spurs to the
manager.
next level?
What has
So
Ange
what can he
done?
do? What's he want?
I
What's
think
Thomas Frank want?
I think he can sort this team out better than Ange. That is a personal
Why?
opinion. I
But
can't put
why?
a fact down because I think he would play the team better. I think he would be able to adapt to games better.
What would he?
When I've
but-
seen him play for Brighton, he adapts to games.
It's crazy.
think
Wait,
he is
before
a better man
anyone
manager.
goes further,
I
I
play a
just
different
think
way, sorry, about
like-
this Conte Ange thing. See, I have a different take on this, right? Because I've liked
What?
Conte's football, and I've also liked Redknapp's football. I was like Poch's
Yeah.
football, like Jose's style as well. Because for me, it's about effectiveness. I'm gonna use that word on purpose. So for me, I think, like Dan, in the sense the players we got 3-5-2 is better, but at the same time, I thought Conte's football in general is more effective. He's less exposed. He gets the best out of what he's got rather than going and playing the players to their weaknesses, which I feel like Ange is doing with a lot of players, right? And Jose again is a manager who plays the players to what he's got, whereas at a 4 or 5 or 3. So this whole notion that Ange is not liable for anything.
Do you think that's the reason why we were second off FC under Conte, where he was conserving energy in the first half, trying to slow the game down, and in the second half we used to come out
Basically, what he was doing was
compared to
defending us.
now, like because we're getting a lot of injuries.
He was defending us as good as he could because his team was absolute shit. I mean, apart from Harry Kane and the Son, who was playing well, apart from that, his team compared to Ange's team was absolute dog shit.
Why do you think so many fans were so unhappy with Conte? Because in that, when we got
because they
knocked
just
out,
don't like that style of football.
So when we got knocked out of the cup, I think it was FA Cup to Sheffield United, and then we got knocked out the Champions League against AC Milan. The fans were singing Poch's name. Do you know what I'm saying? And that was quite a bit of the fans.
I mean,
it wasn't like
it's
it was
each
one or
their
two.
own, yeah? Some people just like football for entertainment, yeah? Some people just want to
That's a
win.
good question.
Some
That's a
people,
good question.
some people want the best of both worlds, yeah?
Mhm.
Sometimes you can't have the best of both worlds. We all want the
Where
best.
do you sit? Are you more on the entertainment side, or are you more on the results
I
side?
want to win. I don't care. I want to
What
win.
about you, Has? You
Yeah, how
more
we do it.
entertainment,
I
more
I
result?
think attacking and defensive football, both combined either way, they all can be effective if they're played correctly. I.e., you play with number 6 for one, that Ange
And-
doesn't do. Yeah, and Poch did. That was the difference. Poch had Wanyama, and there's a reason why we were succeeding more under Poch, because we had a number 6. Ange doesn't play with the 6, as you said yourself, Ash. But for me, it's about we're winning, of course, but I'm saying you can win in different ways. That's my argument. That's what I'm trying to say. Because this whole notion, whenever everyone brings up Ange's criticism, everyone just jumps to, well, under Jose and Conte, we're playing so defensive, because there's a whole belief in this, not in the whole Spurs fan, but it's on label everyone.
Yeah.
But there's a fixation on playing attacking football because supposedly this is this quote unquote Spurs way.
What style of football was one more?
Yeah, but before you get to that, I just want to hear. All right, before you get to that, wait. Pause that. But I want to hear Oren's thoughts as well. what would you say? Would you prefer more entertainment for more entertainment, or would you prefer more results based? Because I think Conte was more results based, and by the looks of it, Ange is more
So was
entertaining.
Mourinho.
Do you know what I mean?
And City.
Well, it's that's the thing. That's the thing.
Where do you think?
It's always about results. It's about winning, and it's
So who's
doesn't
had
matter
better
what
results, Warren? Ange or Conte?
the what.
Who's had better results over a whole season, Ange or Conte? Just simple question.
Don't
Where did
know.
we finish the league under Ange and where did we finish the league under Conte? Just a simple question. Come on, this is a
Ange.
simple question.
Ange had better results.
Ange didn't have Harry Kane. Conte
No
did.
results, though. You're talking about the
I just
results.
a simple question. Where do we
Results.
finish under Conte? Where do we finish under Ange? That's a simple
That
question.
Well,
excuse,
what?
Ange
Okay,
really
okay,
wanted
okay,
to have
Haas.
Harry
What
Kane. He
what
never had
season?
Harry
What season
Kane.
you report? What season you referring to?
Their
The
first
two
season.
seasons Conte have.
So Conte had half the season and finished fourth. Ange had the season and finished fifth.
Yeah. Did Conte have as much injuries and as Ange did? Was he
Yeah,
rebuilding a team?
injuries.
I prefer Ange over than Conte. Didn't like Conte.
No, I just asked you what the league position is.
Well, the results, yes, the results will say that Conte had more wins than probably Ange did. Yes, of course.
So who's a better
Yeah.
manager then? Conte has more wins than Ange.
That's not necessarily.
Is anyone else hearing that mad feedback? Or is it just me?
Yeah. I'm hearing it too. I think it's the win. The win, very win. Well, I don't know. Is that for me or?
I don't know.
It was
sounds
from
like the headless horseman's just entered the room.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's what I was just thinking. What the
Oh,
hell
I was
is that?
going mad. I was like, what's going on
Look,
here?
It comes down to it. Everyone's got their own thing, yeah? What style of football was won more? Ange's style, like you score 3, we score 4, or Conte Mourinho style?
Conte Mourinho. 100%.
Well, that's why I was saying at the start.
But they've
I was
had
like,
longer. Haven't they had
is
longer
there
than?
is what Ange's trying to do? Is it trying to be like more like Klopp style, rock and roll? But did Klopp have better attackers? So was it more suited for Klopp? Ange has been-
Well,
his
did
arms have been cut off.
Pochettino win more? Did Pochettino win more matches than Conte and Jose at Spurs?
Pochettino, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, it definitely has. Yeah.
right. Wasn't he attacking?
Yeah, but he was also defensive when he needed to be as well.
But so is Ange. Ange is defensive. You're making it sound. How much goals has Spurs conceded this season?
Shall I have a look?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Please.
I don't write them all down. So go on.
No. I'm just saying you could go and look at the table.
I think we're like either the third or sixth best team in terms of defensive output.
Right.
And,
Okay,
so
fair enough.
the
But
least.
we've lost.
They're not conceding.
We've lost. But we've
I think
lost.
because
seven games.
we lose
Yes,
games
yes.
by 1 or 2 goals.
Yes.
Like 1 goal, I think.
That's fine.
Right, but Dan, you play football, or you did play football.
I used to. I couldn't.
You
now
used
I
to,
can't.
right? So you are aware that the other team that you're playing against is looking to beat you as well.
No shit, Sherlock.
Exactly. I'm not Sherlock, but you know what I'm saying. So when I know I don't expect Spurs to lose against Ipswich or Crystal Palace, but when I watched those games, I was like, you know what? Fair play to Crystal Palace. Fair play to Ipswich because they fucking went all out. Fair play. And at the end of it's like two boxers. I watch EFC. As I said, I support Wigan.
Same.
And I'm just thinking to myself, you know what? At the end of it, even if
Yeah,
I want Wigan to win,
in your opinion, basically.
yeah, it's two teams out there,
So,
and
but
one team gets the win.
okay, would you
Spurs
say that Spurs play poorly in those games? Like, for example, Bournemouth, even though we lost by the odd goal, would you say that at some times they had like multiple chances? Had they had better quality, that scoreline could have been devastating.
I didn't watch the Bournemouth game.
Okay,
I was so I couldn't say.
Example.
But yes, I think Spurs have played badly against, I would say, Crystal Palace for sure. They were just
the point I'm making, I don't think the goals that we conceded against is a fair reflection of how the actual game went. I think if you actually take into context, you bake into context, because we like to look at underlying stats. If we had to look at the actual game itself, we conceded a lot of chances, a lot of shots on target. Where
I was about to say over 140 in 7 or 8 games.
140 shots.
Over 140 shots against us in 7 or 8 games.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah,
That's
players
So
take
that's not,
shots. What's
that's
the
not good
problem?
defending.
But players take shots. What are they meant to stop
I
players
think
taking
it's the
shots?
quality of chances we're conceding. I think that's the worrying
Yeah,
thing for Spurs fans
but
because it depends on the momentum of the game. Of course, you're not going to have the ball. I mean, in the opposition's half where we're attacking them, we're peppering their goal. We do have a lot of the ball, but at the same time, when we do lose it, they're having better quality chances. So I think one game we had 0.72 XG. I know people hate XG, but basically we didn't have a lot of big chances, even though we had a lot of the ball. Whereas the other team had less of the ball and they had a lot of big chances against us. And I think that's
did
what.
this? Sorry, didn't this happen under Jose and Conte as well, and even under Poch? Because I remember watching
Yeah,
some Poch's
That's
games
fair.
where
That's
you
fair.
know.
That's fair.
not as
So
many as that.
it's happened before with other managers,
I think
and
with
that's
Conte, we didn't have a lot of the ball, but we were conceding a lot of chances as well,
mhm.
if
Yeah,
I
but
remember.
And
it wasn't 140 in 7 or 8 games.
I
They
don't know
were.
the
It
stats, so I
wasn't
no,
that.
can't say the
it
stats. But I
wasn't.
do
But what I'm trying
remember.
to,
I do
it's
remember
just
those games. We did concede a lot of chances, and the reason why we conceded a lot of chances was because we were further back. So teams expect us to walk
and
over.
under
Go on.
sorry under Conte, the season he got sacked or he had that run, wasn't it because Spurs were inconsistent as well? They were winning one game, losing one game, winning one game, losing one game, playing the system that apparently is
Mhm.
meant to be better than Ange's.
Well, it is
So
better. It's one more. It wins
I
more.
but yes, it's the player. Ange's going to win more games than Conte. Let's put it that way. He's going to win more games than Conte.
Says who?
Wow. No, wait. No, you said it.
I've said it. I'm saying it. He's going to win
You
more
said
games
it.
than
You
Conte.
can put a bet to it. I'm not sure if you
Yeah,
got
put a
it.
bet to it. He's going to win more games than
Wow.
Conte, and I do think that
You up for that, Dan? You up for a bet?
he's going to win more games than Conte. And Spurs didn't get top four last season, and I truly believe that's because of the injuries that happened.
Well, will he get top four this season?
It's going to be very difficult, but if Spurs can get their players back and have those players stay fit for the duration of the season, possibly get a proper number six in. Don't know how that's possible, but if they can have every chance. Yeah,
So if Spurs get a six,
So
for
you
example,
think?
if they
So
won the
you
season.
think we can get fourth place?
I think Spurs can get. I look. Let me say,
Yes
I
or
might
no?
come across like I don't give a shit about Spurs, but every season, and Marlon can
Well,
testify to this, and maybe Ash,
neither here nor there.
every every season, I expect Spurs not to get top four, but to be third or second or even challenging. I think top four is minimum requirement.
But yet you're still happy with Levy.
Well, yeah, because Levy's not the manager. How can you not understand this? If you go to McDonald's and get a bad burger, do you want to speak to the McDonald's owner, or do you go and speak to the person who's in
Actually,
charge,
most
the
people actually do
manager?
go and ask to speak to the manager if you really want to know.
Yeah, I mean,
Right.
if I want
Here's
my money back, I get
here's
the
the thing,
manager.
right, and this is not just you. This is a lot of fans who think in the same way, because the narrative is that it's profit before glory. If Levy's such a prick as Dan would say, and is
Which
so
is
business one and tight, surely
yeah.
he would want Spurs to win trophies because that will make the club
No.
more
Right
profitable.
now, I'll give you no. I'll counter that 100%
Will it not
for
make
you.
the club
Right.
more profitable if Spurs won? If Spurs have
No,
won the Premiership
no,
twice
no,
and the
no.
League Cup and the Champions League, would not have made more
Do you
profit
know
for
how
Spurs?
much? Do you know how much money is in it from first to fourth place? Do you know how much money is in it?
No, but
6
winning.
million. Right. Do you know how much? Let me finish on my one. You might understand what I'm getting at. Right, and you get about what is it? 300 for
350.
500,000 for the League
Yeah.
Cup, isn't it?
FA Cup,
Yep,
yeah.
and you get about 2 million for the FA Cup. So we'll
Mm.
add that up quickly. 6, 7, 8, 8.5 million in the bank. Kushti. There you go. There's some wages for a month. Right. With that, call that sarcasm. With that, to get that in the league, to get top in the league, to get the money, or to at least get fourth, he's going to have to spend about an extra 40 million on this team just for one player to cover, and then to get into third, second, first, he's going to have to spend another 120 million. It ain't worth his time. As long as he gets fourth place, which is all he cares about, is the
Who
revenue that
says
comes in
that's all
with
he
it.
cares about?
It's obvious it's all he cares about.
That's what
I
you
say
think.
it. No, I say
Yeah,
it.
exactly. You say it, but
Yeah.
getting top four, and I've said this over and over, that's the minimum requirement.
Exactly.
It's minimum.
Because he wants
minimum.
Yeah,
Because
he wants
as a
Champions League.
chairman and as a businessman, Daniel Levy would want to win trophies because it makes Spurs
Says who?
profitable.
Says who? Says who?
I say it.
Says who?
I
Okay,
say
you
it
say
How
it.
would you
because
know?
And
it's
I say
logical.
no.
It's
And
logical.
I say you don't. No.
It's
The way he's
illogical.
acted, he doesn't act logical as a winner. He doesn't buy players that win things. He doesn't buy players that
He
can
doesn't
take
buy
him up
players
in
that
the
win. So what's he meant to do? Is he meant to like fucking
Buy
go
better
and
players.
have a crystal ball?
Buy better players that are
Buy
obviously
better players, like, but
Instead
it's
of
easy
going
for
for
you to say buy
Odegaard,
better players, but who are these better players? Who
We
are these
suggested
better
the
players?
whole list to you before. Neto, for example, Eze.
Yeah,
Go
that's
for
what
Eze.
you.
He don't even
What
go
has
for
Eze
the
done this
players.
season? What's Eze been? What's he done this season?
Since they've lost about 3 of their best players, they've gone downhill a bit.
Oh my word! It shouldn't. All right, so it's not Eze's fault he's playing crap. It's because Crystal Palace have lost 3 or 4 players.
He's gone down a little bit, but if he would have come to us, I think he would have been a good place.
Right. So you think? Okay,
got.
Neto. What has Neto done for Chelsea? Does he even
What
get
Neto
in
done
the
for
first team at Chelsea?
Yeah, he was playing against us.
No, he wasn't.
He was.
Yeah, he was.
Neto wasn't. Was Neto playing against us? I don't even remember.
Yes, he was. He was.
I don't even remember him playing on the pitch. What did he do in the match?
I don't even know anymore. I give up. If you
No,
didn't know
Haas.
Neto was playing-
Yeah, you're stuck in your mentality. That's the
You
problem,
didn't
and
even
I
know
get
Neto
it.
was playing
But what
against
did he
us.
do?
I don't
No,
understand it.
it's you're all pissed off, and I get it because you have a fantasy, and when that fantasy isn't turned into your reality, it's
What
egotistical.
fantasy do I
It's
have? I don't
narcissism.
understand
It's
what fantasy
borderline
do I have.
narcissism.
No, mate.
So you're
no,
criticizing.
there's a
It is
difference,
because
mate.
the
My
reason why
fantasy
you're
gets turned
upset is
into
because
realism.
life isn't happening the way you want it to. It's not
Yeah,
easy
I
signing
want
players.
I want my club to win. My club,
Yes.
Tottenham
Do you,
Hotspur. I
right.
want them to win.
So in your mindset, do you think Ange sits with the players and go, right, lads, the fans want us to win, but we don't want to win.
No,
Fuck it.
I believe Ange wants to win. I didn't say
So
I
the
don't
players,
believe
do you think
that.
the
I
players
just
go,
don't-
guys, you know what? There's
Yeah.
nothing fucking better than losing
Yeah.
because it's
Yeah.
nothing better
I
getting
think they
booed off
want
the
to win as
pitch.
well.
I hope they
Absolutely
will.
They
better.
want to win as well.
You know,
But I
Brendan
just don't
Johnson,
think
you know
Ange
what,
is good
guys?
enough.
I'm going to miss this chance
I
because
just
it's
don't think
fucking
Ange is
great
good enough.
when I
I
log
just
onto
don't think
Instagram.
Ange is good enough. Of course,
Alright,
they
When I
guys.
will.
log onto Instagram. So do
Last.
you think
Wait.
Daniel
We're
do
gonna
you
end
think
the
Daniel
show. We're gonna
Levy
end the
wakes up
show.
every
Levy
morning and
doesn't want
thinks,
to win.
right,
Levy
Hold
don't
on.
care. He just cares about money. That's all he cares
but
about.
he's a
Wait, hold on.
businessman. Of course he does. He's a business.
Wait, guys. Hold on.
It's
Hold
by
on.
profit.
Wait.
It's money.
Hold on a second.
Name one
Hold
businessman who
on.
doesn't
Hold on.
name
Hold on.
one businessman who doesn't care about money.
Wait a
You just
minute.
said it.
Name
Chill.
one businessman
Go
who
on,
doesn't
Ange.
care about money.
Go on,
Wait. I'm gonna end the show because we're gonna go around in circles and circles. I love it. I do love the
But
energy.
this is
But
yeah,
we've
it is
been
fucking late. You need to get
No,
these started
it's late.
earlier.
It's late, bro. It's late. And
Yes,
some of us
yeah,
have to be
fuck
up.
it is. Fuck.
It's late, yeah.
Yeah,
I
I
know.
did
We've been going at it. We've been going at it for over 3.5 hours, yeah.
Well, I did
But-
the other was 2 hours, and I came to this as 3 hours.
But I feel sorry for you guys. Like, this is mad. Like, it wasn't even meant to be this
It's
deep.
all right, man.
No.
I'm
But
only
listen,
going to
wait,
That's love. I know. We know it's all right. It's a debate. We're talking about football. Who cares? Listen, I wanted to say, look, do you not prioritize this cup game? And we're gonna just to round up, if you can. Do you not prioritize this cup game, or do you prioritize Liverpool? Do you know what I'm saying? Because Liverpool, obviously, if we win that game, obviously we go up the league, momentum, If we win and we go to in this quarterfinal, we get to the semi-final that we haven't done in a long time, and it's a momentum opportunity to actually win a cup. So if you had to have a red pill or a blue pill, red pill being we beat United, we get to a semi-final, we have a chance to go on, or the blue pill is we don't progress, but we do better in the league, we beat Liverpool. What should we prioritize in you guys' opinion? I'm going to start with Haz, then I'm going to go to Oren, then I'm going to Dan, and then I'm going to end it. I don't know.
Yeah.
We're probably going to have a disagreement, but we're going to have to come and do it again because
All right.
otherwise we'll be here forever.
I've got one question at the end. Just one question at the end.
Wait, what?
I'm taking the red pill, United, because as a fan, I want to see my club win trophies, and the Carabao Cup is the best chance of us winning a trophy, which is, by the way, was the last trophy we won, which is 2008. Because Levy has starved so much of success that I have to hang on to a Carabao Cup to have any form of success for the football club I do support. As for the league, I don't think we're going to win the league, so yeah.
Yeah, not win the league, but I mean, push for the top
Yeah,
four,
just
like Oren says.
yeah,
But
I'd
anyway,
rather win the Carabao Cup. Yeah. Anyway.
fair enough. Oren, go. What would you prefer to have, like, I don't know, who's the most valuable player to you, Maddison and Kulusevski? Would you prefer to have them both playing for Spurs against Man United, or would you rather have one of them play and maybe use the other two for Manchester for Liverpool? Sorry, if that makes sense.
Yes, yeah, it does. It does. I'm just logically, Spurs should put more effort into winning the game against Man United.
Mm-hmm.
It progresses them. I think Liverpool, they'll do the same for Liverpool, but I think.
Would you be less upset? Would you be less upset if we lost against Liverpool and won against Man U? Not that you get upset anyway. Life is more important.
Logically, I would say yes. If Spurs beat Man United, I think that should be more prioritized than Liverpool for Spurs, for the players, for Ange, because if Ange Spurs get knocked out against Man United, flip. The noise that will be made will be nuts. Be fucking nuts. I mean, and when Spurs if Spurs win the League Cup, the narrative will be we won the League Cup, but fuck, so what? It's only the League Cup. It's fucking shit. Who cares?
Guys, I know you don't feel like that, but some fans might say it's
not
still
you, Dan. Don't take it personal.
Not you, Has.
Not you
might still say. No. I've heard it though. I've actually heard it.
I heard it too.
Am I allowed to say any
why I brought it up?
Win a trophy.
The reason I know that, bro, but the reason why I brought it up, because I have heard this, like this week, I heard some fans say that if we win the League Cup, it's still only the League Cup. If we don't do well in the league and we finish 8th or 10th, I won't be happy with the season, because then the season would have been thrown away. Do you know what I mean? What would it mean? We just won a League Cup. Ramos won a League Cup and got sacked the following season. George Graham, he won a cup the following season he got sacked. You know what I'm saying?
He got to the final and got sacked the week before.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying this is what some fans aren't happy. Some fans, they want the League Cup
semi-final against Arsenal or something. Am I wrong?
Yeah, against Arsenal. Yes.
Yeah.
Some fans want League Cup and they want a top 4 or top 6 finish. Like having a League Cup win and finishing outside the top 6 is unacceptable for them. So that's the reason why I asked it. Do you know what I mean? And I wanted to see where Oren sat in it, if he was one of those fans that thought...
He didn't take any pill. He didn't take the blue or the red pill. I'm still waiting for an answer.
No, I did. I took the pill that I think I don't speak as Spurs as we. So when I say Spurs and the players, it would be good for them to win.
Ash asked you, would you take the blue pill or the red pill? The red pill being United, the blue pill being Liverpool.
Yeah, I said red pill.
Which one are you taking?
He's taking red. He's taking real. He wants the cup. He wants the cup.
That's what
so he's taking red pill, yeah? I'm just asking.
Yeah. That's what I said. Yeah.
So Dan, obviously, like, I think I know your answer, but follow up with your question, because you got a question after that as well.
I'm going for the cup. Why? Because the league's done and dusted, as far as I'm concerned. I'm going for the cup.
Right now.
Right, Orion, do you think Spurs will finish top 4? Yes or no? How confident are you in this manager that we've got?
Good question, yeah.
If
yes or no?
Yes or no, yeah.
It's not a simple yes or no.
I'll let him give him an if. I want to hear it. I want to hear it. I want to hear it.
Because if Spurs can get all their players healthy, make an addition, yes, I fully agree. Yes, I do.
What type of addition as well? What's the addition?
A good, solid, hard-working number 6, if it's possible. If it's possible, yes, I think Spurs will.
Okay, but you think they will? Okay, I'll put 150 on this table here and now. Spurs don't reach top 4, even 5.
You can do that, yeah. I don't have 150 quid to give you, but yeah, you can put it up.
Let's make a different kind of bet. Let's make a different type of bet. I don't know.
Or to say Levy out if we don't get top 4.
Yes. That'll be the bet. I'll even wear a shirt.
You guys are protest.
Well done.
I'll even wear a fucking shirt and say Levy out.
We get you some balloons. We get you a shirt.
Yeah. And I will probably stand. I will stand on my own. I will
Especially if we don't get 6 as well. If we don't get the 6, cool.
No,
Got it.
listen,
But, Oren,
it's
what-
reality.
On that note, guys. On that note,
That's
Yes,
Oren-
let's go.
That's what you made. Oren made a comment. Correct if I'm wrong if I misheard it. You said you expect Spurs to finish second. Was it third or something every season?
No. Every season, I expect Spurs to finish top 4, if not higher, and to win something.
So, bearing in mind this expectation, Levy has only delivered this top 4, half the time, maybe even less that he's been here. So, if your expectation is that, and your chairman, who's sat past 17, 18, 19 managers, has not delivered the expectation,
Because the chairman is not the manager. The chairman is not the manager.
He's been very
That's my
underachieving.
point.
Ash,
He's
I've
not
cut
the
it because it's
manager.
going to kick off again.
I know I was going to say, bro. I thought it was over, guys.
Haas, why can't you understand this? Daniel Levy is not the manager.
Top 4 minimum. Levy, who's overseen how many managers,
He employs the managers.
Because they haven't succeeded in what they wanted, which was to win something and to finish higher than top 4.
The chairman has no responsibility for any of this.
No,
He
the
employs
chairman,
them.
the chairman is there to run the club, of course.
Yes, but he
and which he has done.
employs the managers, and it's down to the chairman to pick out the best manager for the club.
But
And
sure,
he has
Jose
failed
was the
every
best
time.
manager. When Conte came in, everyone was singing and dancing, saying he was great. This was the guy who was going to win Spurs stuff. He's a serial winner. Didn't work out because he imploded. He wasn't good enough.
Oh, he was more than good enough. He just didn't
No,
get
he
back.
wasn't. Obviously, he wasn't because Conte.
Did he get 350 million spent on him?
No, because it was no. He didn't.
Who did he get in defence? Longley, Davis, Dyer. Shit, man.
Yeah, but what did he do to justify in getting the top players? He wanted Bastoni for 80 million.
He finished top 4, man. On
that wasn't a big deal. He finished top 4.
But you just said you expect top 4 minimum. So
minimum. But he finished top 4 and he made a whole song and dance about it. Spurs were always there to finish top 4. It wasn't like they were 15 points behind Arsenal. I think when he took over, they were 7 points behind Arsenal or 9. They got in Bentancur and Kulusevski, which changed things when they got top 4. No, it was still doable. And then, but Conte made it like it was a magic thing. No.
It's actually quite a lot of points, Aaron. I'm sorry.
And how you left. Where did he leave Spurs?
Fourth place.
No, he didn't leave Spurs in 4th place.
Yeah, he did.
Where were Spurs when he got sacked in the season he got sacked?
4th.
They weren't 4th place.
We were.
Yes, they were.
Where did Spurs finish at the end of the season?
No.
Don't
talk about Conte.
Mate.
Yeah, Stellini, Mason, they got us like 8th.
Yeah,
Conte left
Stellini, Mason, they fucked us up. But Conte left us in 4th place.
Spurs weren't in 4th place.
We were in 4th place.
They
We
weren't in
were in
4th
4th
place.
place.
Yes, they weren't.
It was.
All right, ask the chat. Where were we when Conte left us?
He got sacked against Southampton, and Spurs were up and down.
We were 4th.
Weren't they?
We're 4th.
They're 4th?
Yeah,
we were. Bing.
We were 4th, bro. We were 4th. We were 4th. It's against Southampton. Remember, that's when he kind of went off. Because remember, we had a chance to go 3rd. We had a chance to go 3rd, and we drew with them, and we went back to 4th. And then remember, because we could have gone ahead of Newcastle or Man United at the time.
Right.
I remember.
So that's where it was. And that's why he flipped. And he's like, these players, the mentality, the club. So that's the reason why. Yeah, so it was 4th, remember?
Okay.
And then
mistake
took over, and then we got smashed by Newcastle, remember? And then we started
with it 5-2, 5-1, I can't remember.
Do you know what I'm saying?
6-1. Wasn't it 6-1?
Yeah, 6-1. 6-1. Yeah, 6. It was 6, bro.
Yeah. But anyway, I really have to go. We gotta finish this stream. Fuck. I gotta get up at 6 o'clock in the morning.
I big up Oren, you know, that was a legendary stream. Like, I'm just,
yeah.
I put this player on because I'm thinking this is the only way you lot are gonna leave. This is one player I'm looking at the moment. He's 20 years old. He plays in the Swedish league, but he is a rapid.
The way I am, it's because this stream is great. Like, and this is the only stream that has me on.
Thank you.
And like,
no, I appreciate it.
And like,
no, I respect it, man.
Dan Haas, it's not personal.
Yeah,
I hope you don't think it is.
It's
never personal.
I don't.
You support Spurs. Yeah, I know. You support Spurs, and it's great, and that's all that matters. And it's even better because look at the comments. I love getting talked all this shit. Great.
I love
Look at
it.
it.
I
You need to
love
start supporting whatever. But you know what?
None of it's neither
It's
here nor
great
there,
because the
mate.
more comments it on, the more the stream
Oren,
gets seen.
none of it is personal. I was just asking you questions. Asking.
I know, no. I know you are. I'm just letting you know about me. Like,
Okay.
yeah, I'm not taking it. I don't. It's not
If you want
personal.
to know,
My
get
thoughts
to
or
know, right? If
opinions.
you want to know, get to know. That's
Yeah,
it.
it's not anything personal. It's just opinions. People take it personal.
Yeah, we're not.
The
I
comments are
didn't think
great.
I don't.
Like the Alex Scott experience. Don't know who he is, but hey, well done.
I mean,
well done.
Oren, you're more than welcome to come on my channel for a debate if you want. If you want my number, just get it off Ash.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah. It's like I've
No,
never.
he supports this channel only. No, I'm joking. I'm not a gatekeeper.
I suppose.
We'll-
Yeah,
we'll
that's why
make it happen,
I'm
man.
just kept on this channel. They know what I bring.
We have him for a reason, man. We have him for a reason. So, it's
Yeah.
a shame. Normally, he only does an hour, but today he fully did. He made up for
Bro,
the other
it's
times he
almost
was
4
on.
hours. I've just.
I just went hard.
I know.
you know
Fuck.
what I'm
That's
saying?
why I go. That's why I keep reserves and I don't talk shit because I spark stuff. I spark stuff. But yeah, cool. Like when I want to get over Spurs maybe next season. So like, yeah, it'll be cool to like come over and meet up with you guys and stuff because like we're all Spurs fan and yeah, fucking you want the best for Spurs and stuff and that's great. All clubs do. So it's just like I think I just like to speak reality and facts. Well, reality, you know. And I do maybe show a little bit of aggression because I support Spurs. I don't want Spurs to be fucking slated or slagged off or anything like that. It's not nice, you know. A team that you support, yes, I do get it, but yeah, it's like support the club, support the players, and yeah, whatever happens, fucking
way.
let's just all support them.
I'm realistic as well, and Spurs are the most underachieving club in the world for their size. And Daniel Levy, I'll see you next Tuesday.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. Right, okay. Leave it at that. I'll see you next Tuesday. See you guys.
Rush hasn't ended it yet. He's still
Take
going.
to it.
That's just gone. He's just away. He's in bed.
I had enough of you lot. I said, listen.
Yeah. Right, I gotta go. Right, see you guys later.
Right.
Big up.
Right, bye.
Nice one, people. Love. I'm gonna end it now. Thanks for all the people in the chat as well. Big up, everyone.